Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Every week is different, and you don't know what it's going to take to win the game. We did what we had to do to win the game. That's what good teams do. No matter what, man, I get it. Do not ever feel bad or this or that about a win, man. They're too hard to come by. You earn that win. No matter what you say, you earn that win. And we will accept it, all right? All I've got is 2 game balls. All right, I got 2. Give me the first one. Riley Patterson.
Yes, sir!
What's the next one? This guy's a fucking rock, man. He does everything for us. He's an offensive player. Run game, pass game, third down. What do you need? He does it. He runs the ball, Mr. St. Brian.
Let's go. Bring it in. Hey, fourth quarter victory. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And man, I will never apologize for a Victory Monday. How's everyone feeling this morning? Lions coming off a win in LA, beating the Chargers. Man, what a game, by the way. 41-38, a shootout on the road against the Chargers, like I said. Justin Herbert played a hell of a game. Jared Goff played a hell of a game. And there's a lot to get to, man, today. How's everyone feeling? We got an entire crew with us here today. Sam Flannel, my partner in crime, here in the flesh with his Bumblebee flannel. He's ready to go. JB in the sound booth holding it down for us, and Lucas Klotz, of course, in the TD booth. And today is going to be a lot of celebrating, a lot of breaking down the victory. And again, the Lions' NFC hopes are alive. Their NFC North hopes have been alive. But more than that, Sam Flannel, this is a team that continues to overcome. Not every game ideally goes how you maybe expect, right? Some games may be a defensive battle. Some games might be a shootout like we saw yesterday. But the fact of the matter is, Sam, they won. Yes. And that's all that matters.
And that's the thing. And Dan Campbell mentioned it in the locker room, and I thought that was very apropos, is that winning in the NFL, it is very, very hard. Winning on the road against a very talented team like the Los Angeles Chargers is very, very hard. I'm not saying it was perfect. There are definitely some things that the Lions are going to need to clean up if they want to advance far in the playoffs, but it's a road win. And the offense, I mean, I know we're going to talk a little bit about the defense and their shortcomings. The offense had maybe their greatest day in the past couple of years. I mean, this is an elite offense that just took it to another level this week. And that's the takeaway that I'm going to carry from, because that's the thing. When you win, you can focus more on the positives. You don't have to think of what if or anything like that, because the Lions, they overcame and they found a way despite a very, very shaky defense, because you know what? The Lions couldn't stop the Chargers, but the Chargers couldn't stop the Lions either.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the NFL sometimes. You're going to have games like this where, there's essentially no defense being played, but regardless, it's who gets the ball last. And boy, did Dan Campbell know that himself. You talk about what happened at the end of the football game, too, which took nuts for what Dan Campbell did. And you talk about 4th and 2, 38-38. Already in field goal range, by the way. And Dan Campbell, with his big balls, decides to go for it. His Randy Marsh-sized balls. Says, you know what? We need to stay on the field. It's whoever has the ball last, and he gets it. He showed it there, the guts and the trust he has in the players, and they got it. And we've seen that on multiple occasions, too. And there's a lot of 4th down. Both Brandon Staley and Dan Campbell are both aggressive coaches. But the fact that he went for it at the end of the game, I was in full support of it. I mean, you didn't want this defense getting back on the field. So I'm glad Dan Campbell went for it, and it worked out for you. You beat a very good team. The Chargers, despite what happened in the ballgame itself, Justin Herbert had a hell of a day. And the defense, Keenan Allen couldn't be stopped. We get all of that, which there is a lot to take away. We could talk about the defense any other time. We'll get to it later in the show. But more importantly, it's not about all the stuff that you don't like. It's about the stuff that you do appreciate, and that I appreciate. Dan Campbell's aggressiveness it worked on the road in a tough environment, and it was a hell of a job from Dan Campbell. Hell of a coaching job.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is when the offense stayed on the field on that 4th and 2, when they were definitely within field goal range to just take the lead. They would have given the Chargers a lot of time left on the clock, and I'll tell you what, as much as we want to celebrate this win, and it is going to be we are in a celebratory mood today, as the Brits would say, instead of celebratory. If the Chargers would have got the ball back, I think the way that they were playing, the way that the Lions defense was playing, they might have went right down the field and scored a touchdown and won the game themselves. Was it risky for Dan Campbell to do that? Absolutely. But if they made it, which they did, you can basically take all the time off the clock and kick basically a chip shot field goal, which they did. And that's the thing about gambling. You have to be sort of selective and smart about it. And if it works, everybody gives you praise. And you know what else? I know this is kind of underrated. Shout out to that Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown 3rd and 14, 12-yard completion that even made that possible. Because if that doesn't get completed, it's 4th and 14. They probably have to punt at that point, and then they definitely lose. So everything worked out, and they got that win. And I know we're not going to talk too much moving forward just yet. I don't think the Lions defense will have another performance that bad again. I just have faith, especially the way the schedule works out. And that's why it's good to win these games in different kind of ways.
Yeah, and Lucas, the significance of this win is you talk about the top 3 quarterbacks they faced, Mahomes, Lamar, and Herbert. And of course, with Herbert and Lamar, they've both torched your defense. But regardless, you look down the schedule, they beat the Chargers. That's significant. You move forward. You got Chicago twice. You got Josh Dobbs twice. You have maybe not even a Derek Carr, who was hurt yesterday.
Could even be Taysom Hill at that point,
It could even be Taysom Hill. You got Russell Wilson. Like, the quarterback play is nothing like you've already seen. The schedule favors the Lions, and I think L.A. was one of the bigger tests besides Dallas, and they won the game. So kudos to them.
No, and LA gave Detroit everything they had. Even the refs on that last touchdown drive for the Chargers. It was 3 drive-extending penalties, 7 and goal opportunities. Like, I understand that the defense looked very shaky, and I'm not going to dismiss that. But when you have an offensive line like the Lions do in a running game, you can control the clock against damn near anybody. So you can afford for your defense to kind of have one of those games. What did I say going into the game? All you got to do is make Herbert and the Chargers turn it over once or twice, which they did, and then that's the game. That's the difference. I'm worried about the Lions' defense, but at the same time, I'm very confident that the Lions' offense can counteract that. The NFL these days, it's turning into more of an offensive game. If you look back at the last couple Super Bowl winners, they were a very offensive team with a good defense. Not a great defense, but a good defense. And I think the Lions, at the bare minimum, have a good defense.
And Sam, I said it all week last week. This game would be won and lost up front in the trenches. Now, the defensive line for the Lions, essentially, besides Aiden, they weren't getting much pressure. But I didn't know that the Lions' offensive line would be so dominant in pass pro and in the run game that it didn't matter. And they came out on top because of those guys up front. And I'll get to that later because I got an interesting stat. Chargers' run defense, fugazi.
Yeah.
But continue,
I
Sam.
thought it was good.
I was told they were. I was told they were elite. But continue.
Well, that's the funny thing. By the numbers, the Chargers' run defense was good coming into the game, but those numbers are going to go way down, I would certainly say. And when you really think about it with the Chargers, they never really face an offensive line like the Lions. They were able to play some poor running games, and that is 100% fair because you even look back at the beginning of the year when they faced the Dolphins' running game, which is also very, very good. The Dolphins ran it all over them as well. So it was just very, very nice because one of the strengths of the Lions, and I know we'll get to this more, of the Chargers, and we'll get to this more later, is their pass rush, is their edge rushers, I would say, and they were pretty much a non-factor. So kudos to the offensive line. Sometimes your offensive line needs to pick up your defense, which was almost as bad as the Lions' offensive line was good, but the offensive line just did enough, and the best part is the Lions got the ball last, and that's all that matters. They were able to sustain a drive, take all the clock off, kick a field goal. I know they didn't want to give the ball back to the Chargers, but that offensive line, I'll tell you what, they might have had their best day in this whole season for sure.
They're back healthy, and that's a problem.
They left healthy, too.
They left healthy. Absolutely. To get some of these comments, man, welcome to the show, everybody. I see all the people tuning in, and I want to read as many of these comments as I can. People reacting to the Lions' victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. Cody Engel says something got to stop wearing black gloves. Kevin Bell says I think C.J. Gardner coming back for the Minnesota game. Justin from North Carolina, Bears and Packers at home next 2 games. John Macaroon, the doc, he says I am nervous about this defense in the playoffs. And It Hip says, Josh Dobbs is good, Jeff. I don't think he's bad, but I'm just saying he's not Herbert. And Herbert, Lamar, and Mahomes, those are the biggest tests, and you're already past those. So moving on. Mike Bell, time to win the division. LFG. Dayju says, just waiting on Houston to get back as well. Funky says, Jeff, ask Sam how he feels about the fact that J-Mo had a bigger impact on the win than Hutch did. Oh, that's aggressive.
I mean,
that's aggressive. Sam, what do you think about that one?
Here's the thing. I'm definitely happy about the win, and the defense as a whole did not play well. I'm not saying that it was Hutch's fault completely. He needs to be better. I will acknowledge that. When you give up 38 points,
and he was frustrated. Did you watch the post game when he was talking to the media?
Yeah,
he just seemed pissed in a good way. Like he's frustrated that this defensive line ain't getting home.
Well, I mean, he knows that they have to be better, and Aiden Hutchinson, he also has to be better. But to be fair, I mean, John Kaminsky right now is not good. Charles Harris can't get on the field. Neither of the Aquara brothers are really giving them anything right now. Aleem McNeil had another game where he kind of is maybe brought down to earth a little bit. It was a total defensive bad performance. But you know what? The offense made up for it. Jamison Williams had a couple catches. He had a big downfield block, but I'm not gonna overblow that too much. I guess in this game he had a bigger impact than Hutch. That's fine. I'm willing to admit that. For
an
this
impact
game
in the run blocking game?
Yeah, but he also doesn't have 100 receiving yards yet this season.
Does he need to? For this team to win games?
Nope.
That's all we got to talk about then.
Fair.
This
Fair.
Marks Royal says Gibbs has shown me I'm a believer now.
Sure.
And don't worry, we'll get to David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs because guys, I made this case about but this is before the season. This is a while ago, and we talked about when they first drafted, right after the draft, when they got Gibbs, and I believe this backfield could be top 5. Boys, they're top 5, and they're higher than top 5.
Oh, they're
they
top
could
5.
Be top 3, not 3, top 2, maybe not even 2.
Yes,
so like
yeah.
this is
Who else?
Yeah, this is a bad, and I'm talking as a duo, guys.
Yeah.
They're a dangerous backfield, and they're finally coming to fruition for the Lions, and they couldn't be even more happy. Let's see some of these comments too. Trisha Miller says, "Thank you, Lucas. Your perspective is always on point." So Trisha showing you some love there.
Ball nowhere.
Ball nowhere. What about this other comment I wanted to get to? Hoof-hearted. When every player on one side of the ball is sucking, it ain't the players, it's the coach. Referring, I'm assuming, to the defense there.
We can't start this fire.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there either on a victory Monday. But again, we can agree there that the defense. Again, the biggest thing is you won. I don't want that to get. You won a road game in a shootout.
No, and there's so many times this defense has not bailed this offense out, but against Atlanta, 20-6 against Green Bay, they absolutely shut that offense down. When you play an elite offense, when you play an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert, when you play what will be an elite offensive head coach in Kellen Moore, and when you play an elite man-to-man wide receiver in Keenan Allen, when you try to run man coverage against it, looked a lot like Devontae Adams. If Jimmy Garoppolo can complete a pass last week, we'd have looked a lot at the same situation because Devontae Adams would have been doing the same thing that Keenan Allen does. Those are two great wide receivers, and there's some games when you just don't have that elite corner on the outside, that's what's going to happen. So you can't just put this game on Aaron Glenn, in my opinion. Could he have done better? Yes. But it's a W. He did enough. They got a turnover. That's all they needed to do.
Yeah. And again, do they have to get better? Absolutely.
Yes.
Does Cam Sutton have to play better? Absolutely. Does Kirby Joseph in coverage have to play better? Besides the interception, it was a nice pick. Mm-hmm. But he gave up that big play to Keenan? Absolutely. These guys know that. And Aiden's frustrated, so I'm not going to freak out. But, a win's a win. That's all that matters. Like Dan said, it's hard to win in this league. And you win on the road against, I would say, one of the top-tier quarterbacks. I know Neil wouldn't agree with that one. But, no, Justin Herbert is the real deal. And that was a great test, not only for the defense, but offensively as well. Like you said, the guys they have, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Thule, the one that, hey, you were hyping up.
I was.
But they're a pretty good defensive line. They're second in the league in sacks. And, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Jonah, Graham Glasgow, and Frank said, you ain't touching Jared. Kept that man. They were like his security detail. He didn't get to him. That is crazy. But regardless, let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into more of our takeaways from the game itself. And you guys feel free to chime in. Your biggest takeaways from the Lions' victory yesterday. We'll have that conversation and more. But first, Sam Flannel, could you tell the people where they can get the best haircut?
Oh, of course. And that is Lady Jane's, without a shadow of a doubt. Come get this A-plus haircut like me from the A-plus stylist. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked!
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Les Stanford Chevrolet, because what happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand, and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They got that now. Look at Les Stanford Cadillac, Buick, GMC. They got it all. Go check it out on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today and find the brand that you want at lesstanford.com.
Victory!
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Man, I appreciate you guys for tuning into the show on a Victory Monday. We appreciate your presence. A lot to get to. We kind of talked already about the victory a little bit already, but I want to get to takeaways. Let's get into specifics. Sam Flannel, the floor is yours.
All
what
right.
are your takeaways?
You know what? Let's all give a round of applause. You don't even know who it's going to be about. We are giving a round of applause to the best offensive line in the NFL, and that is what they proved yesterday. And yes, the Detroit Lions offensive line right now is even better than the Eagles offensive line, because you know what they did yesterday, and they absolutely shut down the Chargers pass rush. They were great in the run, and you know how I know that? Because I have numbers on my side, and I got some very, very impressive ones, because the Chargers, we talked about it this week, how in terms of sacking the quarterback, they were one of the best teams in the league at doing that. The Chargers came into this game with 31 sacks in 8 games. That's basically 4 per game, which is phenomenal. If you get 4 sacks every single game, you would take that 100 times out of 100. And not only that, they were coming off of a game against the Jets in which they sacked Zach Wilson 8 times. And I know the Jets have a significantly worse offensive line than the Lions, but still, getting 8 sacks is extremely impressive. And they held the Jets to 6 points. And furthermore, coming into this game, Khalil Mack had 9 sacks in 8 games. Joey Bosa had 6.5 in 8 games. Even Morgan Fox, and we can laugh at Morgan Fox, he had 5.5 in 8 games. That's a double-digit sack pace. And Tui Apolotu had 4 in 8 games. And you know how many that they had in this game? 0.0. They didn't even sniff Jared Goff. And that is one of the reasons he was able to, when he had to, pick this Chargers team apart. And furthermore, the Lions, as a whole, ran for 200 yards on 31 carries for an average of 6.5 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. I'll tell you what, and we mentioned it before the game, you've got Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, and Penei Sewell. On paper, that sounds like the best offensive line in the NFL, and as a unit, that is the best offensive line in the NFL. And the reason is because Frank Ragnow is basically just giving you another Frank Ragnow season. I know he missed a game, but still, he's probably going to be first or second team All-Pro as a center. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, 100.
Frank Ragnow. Hey, remember we had that argument, the old Creed Humphreys and Frank Ragnow. I like Frank Ragnow.
Frank Ragnow's better right now.
Okay.
Frank Ragnow's better right now.
Thank you.
Jonah Jackson is having basically, when he's healthy, another Jonah Jackson type season, which is very, very solid. He's a very, very good guard. Taylor Decker as well had one of his best performances of the year, because the thing about the Chargers is they have bookend edge rushers, so it's not always going to be Penei Sewell. Taylor Decker certainly did his job job and held up. He has had a typical Taylor Decker season. But the thing that has put this offensive line over the top, and they really showed it in this game, is that Penei Sewell has somehow managed to even exceed expectations. I knew that coming into this year, he would be one of the best right tackles in the NFL. He might mess around and get first-team All-Pro if he keeps playing the way that he's playing. This man does not allow pressures. He does not allow sacks. And in the run game, we all know the dynamo that he is. But one of the true heroes of this team has been Graham Glasgow. When he has been asked to play, he has been a Pro Bowl level guard. He has been absolutely unbelievable. And if you take name recognition out of it, Graham Glasgow might very well be deserving of maybe even a second-team All-Pro. I don't think he's going to get it, but he has been absolutely elite. And they completely shut down this Chargers defense, which had been playing better as of late. They had some momentum going into the game, but I think it all starts up front. Jared Goff's dominant day. Amon-Ra St. Brown's dominant day. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, it all starts up front because the offensive line was able to give Jared Goff time to throw, and the routes were able to develop, and they were able to open up huge holes for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So kudos to this Lions offensive line. They may have just had their best day in the last couple of years, and they've had a lot of good days. Bravo.
Yeah, you know what? And the offensive line's a great point, and I tweeted this out yesterday because it is impressive. The Chargers come into the game, and you kind of already alluded to this with the sacks. But in the rushing, but they ranked 6th at rushing heading into the game. Rushing yards allowed per game. They allow 89.9 coming into the matchup with the Lions. And we talked about it. We said, well, this is going to be a game that you just completely pick apart the Chargers secondary. But boy, I didn't know they'd do both. They ran all over the Chargers. They ran for 200 yards on 6.5 yards per carry. That is unbelievable. And it kind of puts into context, and I've said this before, and we made a reel about it for the morning show. This team can win anywhere because they can beat you in different ways. If you're going to have a low-scoring game, you have to run the football. They can do that. The defense can hold up. But other times, if the defense isn't holding up, they can win a shootout. And that speaks, I think, more so to not only the offense, but who it's quarterbacked by. And I've been consistent with how I've kind of changed my tone on Jared Goff. And this dude is a franchise quarterback. And Dan said it, thank God we had a quarterback. And thank God you do. Because when you go into these tough matchups, you go on the road to Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes, and you could bring up the game in Baltimore against the Ravens. That wasn't on Jared. That was a complete team loss. But when you have games like this where Jared is a big part of why you win games, that's a guy you can't let out of your building. That's a guy you have to extend. He's a guy who's top 5 right now statistically. And if you want to bring up QBR, he's 6th right now in the NFL. The interceptions have been down for Jared in his tenure with Detroit. He's playing efficient. He's playing smart. You have an offensive line that can protect him. No sacks allowed yesterday against the Chargers. Like, yes, the offensive line deserves a crap ton of credit, but the guy behind that offensive line, Lucas, that dude, they got a dude in Jared Goff. And the Lions fans, and by the way, people can sit there on Twitter or X and pick apart Jared Goff all you want. But guess what? A lot of teams in the NFL would take this man right now because he is the difference between your team being a team that can make it deep in the playoffs. He has a ton of experience, and the Lions are lucky to have a guy like Goff yesterday. Played a clean game, and they needed everything out of Jared, and he gave it to him.
Yeah, they needed everything and everyone, and that's what stood out to me the most. Everyone on the Lions offense got touches, and everyone ate. Even they had a J-Mo touchdown called back. That's fine. They still had Khalif Raymond with a huge play. They still had Sam Laporta. They let everyone on this offense cook. They have so many layers behind this offensive line and Jared Goff to go to, and that's what in the NFL, the 49ers, multi-layered offense where they can pick apart anybody. Anybody can go off any given day.
Right.
The Eagles, the same way. The Lions are like that right now when they still have Donovan Peoples-Jones that's still coming into this offense. This offense is so layered. Tony Romo, I'm not really that much of a fan anymore of him doing his play-by-play, but he hit it on the head as far as what he said. They're so multi-dimensional, and they can go and compete, Jeff, to your point, with any team in any style. And when you have that, that's when we talk about this defense looks shaky. But there's a way to counteract that if you can just bleed the clock the whole game and make that other team just have 1 or 2 drives where they stall out, that's fine because we're going to go down and we're going to score. And if we get close, all right, we're going to go for it on 4th and 2, just like the other teams did. The Lions showed, in my opinion, they compete with any other team in the NFL.
And Jesse, is he a dark horse to win MVP? Dark horse, the definition, yes, I would say that because I don't think he's someone that no one's really talking about. And if he keeps putting up stats and they keep winning games, yes, I do think that. And the offensive line, to kind of speak on Sam's point, because I'm going to get to JB, I want JB's thoughts on this too. And what makes this offense, and the reason why I say they can beat you in different ways, is because of how dominant they are in pass pro and in the run game, this offensive line. Oh, it's one of those games. It's crappy weather. You're on the road. You want to run the ball? Fine, we'll run the ball. Or if you're in LA and it's a shootout, I need to pass protect. Okay, we could do that as well. And we can allow no sacks in a game against a top 2 team in sacks. That's this offensive line you have. This is an elite unit. And when you have a guy like Jared Goff behind them, JB, makes everything run a lot smoother. So I just want to give credit. A lot of guys in this offense, we'll get to St. Brown later in the show because I'm going to revisit my 1,400-yard prediction. But Jared frickin' Goff, Jared Thomas Goff, you Ryan
Gosling.
You know
him, motherfucker.
Yeah, you Ryan Gosling. Mother effer. JB, talk to him. What were some of your takeaways?
Shout out to this whole Lions team. As you guys said, the offensive line did amazing. Jared Goff, off the chain. But I got to give credit to the Lion fan base as well, too, because, hey, we traveled to SoFi and took over. I know LA doesn't have a huge fan base out there given their move to the SoFi Stadium in LA, but still, you could hear the Lions fans on the broadcast. And that's the thing that got me excited, just because you sit here and think that we're not going to travel, but we do, and you can hear them loud as ever say, "Let's go Lions." And I'm just like, I can't believe this fan base is actually going all these places. I mean, we went to Lambeau, we went to Campbellhead now. Sorry, Sam.
There you go.
Sorry, Sam, but you got to give credit to this Lions fan base for just getting up and traveling with this team as well, too, seeing the promise and seeing how far we've come to where we are right now. Hey, sky's the limit.
JB's spot on, too. That I didn't expect that type of show out. I know LA SoFi is like, especially when you have the Rams and the Chargers, they don't really have like, it's not like the most dominant home stadium, like everyone's going to show up there. But Lions fans, man, they travel. I mean, Stick, you've been waiting how long to see this, Stick? Like, Stick's been a fan, and he's been, he's drinking the Kool-Aid his entire lifetime. And I just want to know, and he was on the post game last night. You were there, but I can't imagine Stick right now. He's probably hyped.
Stick was on one, especially when Jared Goff. But shout out Chef Geach. Chef Geach was there.
Geach was there.
He had boots on the ground. I'm sure. I don't know if JD went, but I know he was trying to go. But the Lions, I think we're starting to see. Not only are there Lions fans, but I think we're going to start seeing a lot more bandwagon Lions fans as time goes on, because this is turning into a team where the media is loving it. The narrative is changing in Detroit, and people are going to hop on the bandwagon. So as much as we're anti-bandwagon fans, when you have away games like that, you'll take them. Yeah. You can join the party. Go for it.
I mean, bandwagon fans are 100% welcome. I mean, I know maybe I'm in the minority on this one, but the Lions, throughout their history, they've been a hard watch at times. And now a lot of the people that may have checked out of the NFL are now realizing that this Lions team is a team that is going to win the NFC North, that can compete for a Super Bowl. And they're just fun to watch as well. I mean, what's more fun right now on a Sunday afternoon than watching the Detroit Lions? They have so many personalities. They have so many dynamic, really, really good players. So they are must-see TV, right? I mean, they are 100% must-see TV.
It was Tony Romo and who was it, Jim Nantz on the call?
Yes.
So when Jim Nantz on the David, it was one of my favorite calls outside of Dan Miller call that I've heard a long time on that David Montgomery 72-yard touchdown. He goes, This has been a Showtime offense, and then it goes 7. It's like in the middle of the play, he goes, Showtime! It's the Showtime Lions, baby. It was one of my favorite calls. It was a great call by him, and I think it perfectly just right on the head of just exactly what the Lions are right now.
You know what else is significant too? Remember when, and you guys remember this, I mean, especially if you've been following this team since Dan Campbell first got here. You remember the first year he arrived, and it was, the team is what it was. They knew they had to build this thing from the ground up. But you know what's interesting is year one, you have 3 wins. You're 0-8 on the road, okay? And I remember we had this conversation. Can Dan win on the road in the future? Are you concerned? The following year, when the Lions were 9-8, he's 4-4. This year, he's 4-1. In the last 2 years for Dan Campbell, he's 8-5. 8-5 so far on the road. And he's turned it around. This team can win anywhere. And especially the fact that he has a younger roster. The average age is like 25 point something. That's significant. So to Dan Campbell, he's getting better every single year as a head coach. And I think at this point, you cannot deny he's a top 10 coach in this league. He's a top 10. I think he's going to win Coach of the Year. There you go. Perfect graphic to describe Dan Campbell.
Yeah. No, he most certainly...
Biggest balls in SoFi. Brandon Staley had 2 peanuts. That man is not Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
he wishes he was.
Brandon Staley at this point should probably get fired on the field because he is. I mean, he's a defensive head coach, and they just their defense basically just wasted a great Justin Herbert performance. But you know what? The Lions will take it. They can keep Brandon Staley as long as they want because a lot of that had to do with Brandon Staley's coaching, but a lot of it also had to do with the fact that we, as far as we say, I mean the Lions have a damn good offense, coordinated by an offensive genius, with a great offensive line, with 2 great running backs, with wide receivers, with Jared Goff. Sometimes you just got to take it to a team, and that's what they did. Mm-hmm. That's 100% what the Lions did. Such a good day.
Great day. All right, let's take a break when we get back. I'm going to do a new segment, and this is something I thought of yesterday. It's called Who Took Home the Gold, Silver, and Bronze. We're going to do something where we're going to give a player, we're going to give a player or a coach the gold medal, which means they excelled, maybe the highlight player of the entire game. The silver, which, you did fine, above average. And then bronze, which is, you did okay, but there's still plenty to improve. We'll give our picks out when we come back from break. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Dispo.
Absolutely.
Smoking that Chargers back.
Hey, experience Dispo Romeo, a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. The first ever cannabis malt of its kind is conveniently located off of Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road in Romeo. Dispo Romeo is now open late night until midnight every day except Sunday. Can it get any better than that? Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Smoking on that herb.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're talking Detroit Lions. Victory Monday. Man, I love doing these. And we've had 7 of these this year, and it's a lot of fun. Thank you guys for being with us. You could have been anywhere else this morning, but you're here with the Morning Woodward Show crew, so thank you for that. We're going to try out this new segment. It's Who Took Home the Gold, Silver, and Bronze. And like I kind of explained earlier, gold means a player that excelled. It doesn't have to be a player. It could be a coach. It could be anybody. You decide. And then silver, maybe they did fine, or maybe they did above average, or they just did okay. And then, of course, bronze is... but they got to improve. Sam, I'll let you start. Who took home the gold for you? Or should we start bronze? Maybe we'll do bronze first, then we'll work our way up.
Oh, we're doing bronze first. Okay,
do gold. Do gold then. Now you make me overthink. All right, do gold.
I will do gold first. My gold medal for the Detroit Lions is none other than Penei Sewell. And I know there's a couple of easier ones that I could have chosen, but we're going to talk about them a little bit more in the upcoming segment. So I also have to give my love to Penei Sewell. As I said before, this Chargers pass rush was not only good, I mean, albeit they merchanted a lot of sacks against a bad O-line, but they were also coming off of a damn good performance. And Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, no matter what you say, Khalil Mack is a gold jacket guy, a former defensive player of the year who is on pace for like 17 sacks. And Joey Bosa is a multiple-time Pro Bowler, and he also might be trending towards being a gold jacket guy. On paper, I don't know if there is a better bookend pass rushing duo in the entire NFL. And Penei Sewell, along with Taylor Decker for the record, and I hate this term because I think people kind of overuse it, he put them in phone booths. He really 100% did. Penei Sewell right now, a lot of people, I thought it was a little bit premature calling him maybe the best tackle in the NFL, but I'll tell you what, if he keeps playing like this, as I said, he could be first team All-Pro. He could be the best tackle in the NFL, and I will say with 100% certainty now that Penei Sewell has separated himself from Christian Darrisaw, from Rashawn Slater, and from Tristan Wirfs. Penei Sewell is at worst the best young tackle in the NFL, full stop, hands down. And of course, like he always is, he was great in run blocking as well. He is the best offensive lineman on the best offensive line in the NFL that maybe just had their best day of the last couple of years. So for that reason, I got to give it to Penei Sewell, who might just be the best overall player on this team.
Penei Sewell. I love it.
Penei Sewell.
That's a dog right there,
Yeah.
Penei Sewell. I would, for me, and I want you guys' reaction to this. This is hard because gold you could give to like
The offense.
I know,
The
there's
offense
so
as a
many
whole.
players.
Everybody.
I'm gonna go with the one guy that I've smelt it. Jared Goff smelt it. Big season this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets the gold medal for me. This man had 156 yards on 8 catches and 9 targets. Yes, you heard that correctly. And by the way, had just under half of Jared Goff's passing yards.
And a tutty.
Had half of his 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you cannot guard him. He is 7'11". All the cheesy catchphrases, an ATM. He's money whenever you need it. Wherever you want to say about Amon-Ra St. Brown, it fits. He's Waffle House. He's up late at night. He's catching balls. He catches 200 after practice. This guy is a franchise wide receiver. He's we talk about him obviously being the best player in your wide receiver room, but he's the guy you want to be your best player. He's the guy that you want everyone else to follow. His work ethic, his attitude, his mentality, the way he plays the game, the way he is a professional. He's everything you want. He is probably, and I would say he's the easiest extension decision to decide. Like if Brad Holmes was sitting there and thinking, who should I extend? It is a no-brainer. Amon-Ra St. Brown should be extended ASAP. Extend him right now. We know he's a top 7 wide receiver in the NFL, but more than that, he's on pace to do historic things in this city. Something that you haven't seen since Calvin, Herman Moore. He's in that class of guys. And by the way, we're talking about guys who wear gold jackets. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is my he takes home the gold medal for me, but there's a lot of guys you could go with. Lucas, what do you think?
Yeah,
if you got one, you could say it, but if not, what do you agree with us or not?
I agree with both you guys, but since you guys are going player route, I'll just go with the guy who was calling the offense, Ben Johnson. He got everyone incorporated. I mean, hell, it was the 3rd down play, and he got Brock Wright on a touchdown with a play-action dot from Jared Goff. Ben Johnson was cooking. I don't want to hear anybody saying about how that was his interview for LA, because it's not. But Ben Johnson did exactly what he needed to do. Even in that, when they were at the and goal, when it's like they got the 4th down conversions, or they got shut down at 4th and goal. Right. I still like the play call. It didn't turn out. They responded, went right back down the field, and this offense lit it up. That 2-minute drive, he had great play calling, and I just think he executed exactly how he needed to do. So my gold medal goes to Ben Johnson.
Dog. And by the way, JB, before I get to you, can I get the drop? You got Amon-Ra St. Clown, if you got it. We need it. Because the Chargers, congratulations, Brandon Staley in that defense.
Congratulations, you just got Amon-Ra St. Clown.
You did. Unfortunately, it happened to a lot of people. He's had like 6 straight 100-yard games, whatever the number is. He's been unbelievable. But JB, you got anybody that think you deserves a gold medal today?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you hit on it as well, Jeff. I got to go with the Sun God. The one and only Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, his 4th 100-yard game. His career high, actually, in this one, 156 yards as well, too. It doesn't matter where Ben Johnson puts him out there on the field. He's going to command attention. But once again, it doesn't matter. He is going to get his yards. He's going to get his touches no matter what. And on an offense that mainly seemed like Jared Goff focused on him the majority of the time, and it seemed to work out. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Amon-Ra, Sun God. No matter where you are, you're always fucking open.
He's a dog.
Always open.
Always open. Doesn't matter what you do, what you try to do. He's open. And Sam Flannel, we'll start with you now with silver. Who took on the silver medal to you?
Honestly, this was the toughest one because when I say who I'm about to say, he played really, really well. He just had a run-of-the-mill game for him. I would go with the silver. I would say Sam Laporta. And Sam Laporta, I know 4 catches for 40 yards. That just kind of sounds like a meh game. But he made a couple really, really clutch catches on a 3rd and 2 on that 4th down to basically, I would say, seal the game more or less because they were able to just run out the clock. He was very, very good. He was solid. I would say his pace to having a historic tight end season has diminished a little bit, but that's fine. That is 100% fine. I mean, 4 for 40, it's still a very, very good game. It's just with silver, you have to pick somebody who played kind of an average game. There were so many people, or even a very, very good game, but average for him. There were so many people who you could point out on offense that got golds, and probably so many people on defense that could get bronzes. The silver had to go to somebody, and that's why I chose Sam Laporta. But he played a very, very good game. No disrespect. This was more of a giving it out to somebody because I had to. Because 4 for 40, that doesn't tell the whole story because he made a couple of damn big plays. And it shows a lot about him that Jared Goff feels comfortable going to Sam Laporta, that when in situations where if we don't complete this pass, we probably lose.
Yeah.
So very, very solid game from Sam Laporta.
And it's crazy. Most tight ends would take 4 for 40, like rookie tight ends, and we're like, he's got more juice left in him to get more. But regardless, I covered a lot of those lines, by the way. People betting on him to hit 40 yards. But my silver medal, and this is where I had to think about it, a guy that just, he was good, but he maybe wasn't the level of the offensive line or of a level of St. Brown. I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. And I know he touched pay dirt twice, so that's significant. But 14 carries, 77 yards, had 30-plus more in the passing game, 100 yards from scrimmage. Like, guys, he's unleashed. He's unleashed.
He's here.
He's here. Like Patrick Mahomes.
I'm here.
He's here. He's here. No, but regardless, Jahmyr Gibbs and what he's been doing. I know yesterday they used him in the red zone. I know we talked about this. Dave Montgomery, I thought, would be the guy that they bring back and use heavy in the red zone. A lot of those sets, but Jahmyr Gibbs was in there, and he got 2 TDs, and he caught a couple passes, running some routes out there, lining up in the slot and out the backfield. So Jahmyr Gibbs to me takes home the silver. Wasn't good enough to get the gold, but man, he made quite the impact yesterday. And I think going forward, he's just a guy that you check the stat sheet and you're like, oh, another 100 yards from scrimmage. Mm-hmm. It's another Sunday. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs is incredible.
Now, I'm going to say one that, and I don't think everybody's going to be upset about it, but Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson deserves the silver because could he have done better and got home to the quarterback? Yes. But Aiden Hutchinson, multiple times, it was a lot like the Kansas City games, was right there. And the cause of that, forced incompletion, forced thrown out of bounds. I know they didn't get home, but if Aiden Hutchinson did not play in that game, the Chargers, that defense looks a lot worse than it did. Aiden Hutchinson was applying a lot of pressure, and I know a lot of people want to get the sack total, but it wasn't there. Let's take away the positive from it. Aiden Hutchinson was still a game wrecker, in my opinion, and I want him to get a sack, but he still had 4 or 5 pressures that made an impact on that game.
Yeah, it seemed like he was the only one getting quarterback hits besides Anzalone.
There was multiple times Herbert wanted to check it down to Eckler, and it was at Eckler's feet because Aiden Hutchinson was right there, especially when they had the drives that were inside the 10-yard line to start off. Like, Aiden Hutchinson still had a very big presence on that game, and Justin Herbert knows it too.
Absolutely. For you, JB, who takes home the silver? Somebody that maybe doesn't deserve a gold, but they were pretty good on Sunday.
Yeah, and this was kind of difficult because I feel like silver's like that tier below, and you don't want to like disrespect any of these guys because they all play very well. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is probably, I still wouldn't even give him the silver. Like, he still deserves like a piece of that gold, but for me, I got to go with Sam's choice as well, Sam Laporta on this one. Even though the stat line doesn't show it a lot, 4 for 40, that fourth quarter, 4th and 2, where this whole game was a huge roller coaster, but you counted on him to get that catch and make those yards and basically ice this game. That's kind of puts you in that silver category for me, that saying that, hey, you did well and then you came in clutch for us at the end. So I got to go with Sam Laporta on this one.
It's a good one. Let's do bronze. We could take we'll do it. We'll go a little over a break. Let's do bronze. Sam Flannel, who took home the bronze medal to you?
This is tough. Well, actually, it's not tough because the defense just did not play well overall. I am going to go with none other than Jerry Jacobs. And I know that Jerry Jacobs covering a guy like Keenan Allen is really fucking
man-to-man
hard.
coverage.
Because Keenan Allen is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL who just happened to have one of the best games of his career. This man cannot be stopped. But you had to pick somebody in that defensive back. I know that Jerry Jacobs got cooked for Keenan Allen's first touchdown pretty bad. It's just The Chargers passing offense could basically get, after that first quarter or so, anything that they wanted. Keenan Allen, I mean, whether it was Keenan Allen, it was even Guyton and Quentin Johnston. That secondary as a whole did not have their best day. I just had to single out Jerry Jacobs because he has no business, as much as we love him, covering Keenan Allen one-on-one in any way, shape, or form. Maybe I should have gave it to a member of the coaching staff on defense, but to be fair, I'd say their run defense was fairly solid against Austin Eckler. So I had to give it to somebody in the secondary. That's why I had to go with Jerry Jacobs.
I thought about it, and I just was like, man, should I give a defensive player a medal? Like, I mean, this defense was bad. But that's what I thought about. It's a good one. Jerry and Cam Sutton, those guys need to improve. And that's kind of the theme of the bronze. It's like someone that maybe didn't play as well as silver or gold, but someone that still has some work to do. I'm going to go with Josh Reynolds. Because I don't know what it is, the last 2 games, he hasn't been the Josh Reynolds we've seen all year. And we know they call him Steady Eddie, one of Jared Goff's favorite targets. But for whatever reason, he hasn't been the Josh. And I think it's because of the emergence of a Gibbs, the emergence of other guys that are playing well. But moving further down the line, down the season, you're going to need Josh to get back to kind of that form he was earlier. Unless DPJ can take that role, who knows? But I'm going to go with Josh Reynolds, somebody that I think. He's okay, but he needs to play better, I think, for this. You can't have Amon-Ra catch 60% of your wide receiver production every single week. You'd like other guys to step up.
Can you, though?
He probably can, but I think Josh is someone that I think needs to be better. So that would be who I give the bronze to. And again, this is how you interpret it. If you want gold, silver, medal to be your top 3 players, that's fine. For me, I'm going to look at bronze as somebody that I think needs to play better. And to me, it's Josh Reynolds.
I'm going to go with my man, the one I said was going to get a pick yesterday, and he did, Kirby Joseph. I know Kirby, he missed that tackle against Keenan, but Kirby's been making those touchdown-saving tackles all season. He's eventually going to miss one. Keenan Allen was just doing his thing yesterday, and that's hard to stop. But Kirby Joseph, without that interception, they don't win that game. So I would like to see him be a little bit more efficient when it comes to tackling. But even yesterday, besides that tackle they missed on Keenan, he was a very sound tackler. And especially a lot of those drives, guys, especially the ones that really hurt, they were extended by penalties, especially that, I believe it was second touchdown drive by LA with Cam Sutton on that defensive pass interference that was just soft. That last touchdown drive by the Chargers where they had 3 drive extending penalties, a lot of those were just soft. The Chargers were getting calls, and the DBs were the ones that were obviously taking the punishment from it, but they kept responding when they needed to, and Kirby Joseph gets the bronze. I would like to see him play a little bit better, but I still think he had a very solid game. I think people are overreacting a little bit because they don't realize how explosive this Chargers offense is. Like, the Chargers offense does this to a lot of defenses, guys. This isn't an elite defense. This is a good defense. That's what an elite offense will do to a good defense sometime.
And by the way, actually, I agree with Kirby, and that's actually a great one. I think it's better than Josh Reynolds, to be honest with you, because he had a pick, but then there's also things he can improve on. So that's a great one. Like, Josh Reynolds maybe didn't even deserve a bronze because he just did. Not that he's not a terrible player. He just didn't really do much. And the Purple Prince says there's only one ball. I think it's unfair to expect 100 yards from every skill position. I'm not saying that. I mean, can you get whatever? I'm not even going to go there. But no, I'm not expecting 100 yards from Josh Reynolds. I just wanted to bring him up. But I think Kirby's a great one, to be honest with you. What about you, JB? Give me someone who maybe took home the bronze to you.
Does it have to be a person?
No, it could be anybody.
All right.
Anything.
Well, for this one, third downs and third quarters gets the bronze for me because Jesus, come on. Even though we got that touchdown at the end of the third quarter from Amon-Ra, shout out, but still, third downs, we were an ugly 4 for 13, which forced us into those fourth down situations, which kind of sucked right there. It was like a do or die situation, and this kind of seems to be a trend that's happening in every single Lions game. Either we go in the third quarter just coming out flat, we don't know what to do, and then fourth quarter it starts to pick ourselves up, and then we start to get on that train and start moving a little bit more to get the win. But yeah, these third downs and third quarters we definitely need to improve on.
Yeah, it's crazy. They scored 42, and there's still like a lot of things or 41, excuse me. And there's a lot of things you could, like third down, you could nitpick. Which you're right, JB. Even in the in the red zone where the Chargers, they got the BS penalty, they got first down again, and they still went through every single down. Like, that defense held up, although they didn't play well. It was just a disgusting game on third down for the most part. A lot of fourth down plays. All right, we'll go to break. When we come back, we'll get into the number 1 seed, and we'll look ahead on the Lions' schedule. We'll see where they line up. We'll see other games that are coming up, and our confidence level, at least the Lions, not only contending for the number 1 seed, but winning the NFC and having all roads lead through Detroit in the postseason. We'll discuss that when we come back, but first, Listen, you didn't get to see a lot of great defense on Sunday, but Sam, you get to see a great one every time you visit Guardian Alarm.
I mean, if Guardian Alarm was out there, they might have held the Chargers under 30. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Stay out, Keenan Allen.
Alarm, your local security experts.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Fairway Packing. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods or for grab-and-go steaks, or order online at fairwaypacking.com.
Get your meats.
Get your meats. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Number one, we got a lot of new people, I think, tuning in as well, so we appreciate you.
Hit that subscribe.
Hit the subscribe button and the like button on the stream. It does help us a lot. Let's try to get to 200 likes by the end of this segment. Let's look ahead, guys. Lions, Philly. In Philadelphia's schedule is such a barn burner, man.
Big game this week.
Yeah, they do.
Your Chiefs, Flannel.
Hey,
your Chiefs.
We're all Chiefs fans this week.
No,
though.
that's not true.
Well, no,
Chiefs supporters.
True. No, well, Chiefs supporters, absolutely.
You know how big that would be for the Lions?
I'm not a Chiefs fan, though. I would never say that I'd be a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I wouldn't stoop to that. No, I'm just kidding.
Who do you think I am, Flannel?
Oh, me? No, I am not a Chiefs fan, by the way.
But you know what's interesting? I mean, look at the Eagles' schedule. I mean, you could go Chiefs. They got on Monday night next week, but more than that, they got Kansas City, then Buffalo, then San Francisco, then Dallas, then Seattle.
That Seattle game's huge too.
The next 5 games are huge. And by the way, only 2 of them are at home, Buffalo and San Francisco. Which San Francisco, I think, was going to give them problems. Even Buffalo, maybe, at home as well. But they're on the road for Dallas, Seattle, and Kansas City. And you're talking about the Detroit Lions, who their next 5 games, Chicago, Green Bay, New Orleans, Chicago, Denver, Minnesota. Like, you can keep going. It don't look the same as the Eagles. This favors the Lions. They have one of the easiest schedules. They have a good football team. And we could talk about the playoffs when we get there. But just winning the number 1 seed is very doable in this situation. You even go to the 49ers, and their schedule's not as tough, but they still have the Eagles, they still have Seattle, they still have Baltimore, and they have other teams that aren't just gimmies, but they'll be decent opponents like Tampa. They're all right. But other teams, I think they could sneak up on them a little bit. Washington on the road at the end of the year. We know Washington, your guy Sam Howell, they can play with anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a cakewalk either. So the Lions have the schedule advantage. And I think this number 1 seed is a real conversation, Sam Flannel. It is. And if they do that, it changes my predictions for the postseason. If all roads lead through Detroit, yeah, a lot of things changed for me, Sam, when I'm talking about matchups and how the Lions can win these games.
Well, and that's why yesterday's win was so important, because the Lions took a big step into getting that 1 seed by beating the Chargers yesterday. Because the Chargers, when you looked at their schedule moving forward, you thought this is a game that the Lions could possibly lose, and you wouldn't even be that upset about it. Of course, you'd be upset, but a road game against a very talented team, that is very, very tough. But think about this, guys. Think about this. The Lions have beaten the Chargers on the road and the Chiefs on the road. When you looked at the schedule before the year, you thought, those are going to be some really, really tough games. And the Lions responded to both challenges. They've beaten 2 out of the 3 best quarterbacks they'll face all season in Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. I know it's not all a quarterback thing, but quarterback is the most important position on the field. And moving forward, as you said, Jeff Iafrate, the Lions have it, I would say, pretty favorable. I want to say favorable instead of easy, because easy is a little bit too harsh of a word. But think about this with the Lions. Their 4 home games to close out the year: 3-7 Bears, 3-6 Packers. I don't know what I think the Denver is 3-5. And against Minnesota. Minnesota is going to be tougher than we might have initially thought, but still, it's still I would still favor the Lions in that one. They got 3 road games: at New Orleans, which is not looking as tough as it did before the season; at Minnesota, which is going to be tough; and at Dallas. And when you juxtapose that, look at the dictionary. That's a good word on my part. Look at Philadelphia. And the next 5 games, Jeff, you already alluded to it, but I want to kind of piggyback off of that.
Yeah.
3 of them are on the road: at Kansas City, at Dallas, at Seattle. That's looking like it could be. I mean, I know the Eagles are a damn good team, but they could lose a couple of them. And their home games: home versus Buffalo and home versus San Francisco. And then you look at the 49ers. They go at Seattle, at Philadelphia. They do have a game at Washington, as you said, which is going to be a dogfight, because Washington has shown an ability to stay in these games like they did against Seattle yesterday, for example. And they have home versus Baltimore and home versus Seattle. And that Niners at Philadelphia, that's an interesting one, because that game is either going to, I think, knock the 49ers out of number 1 seed contention entirely, or put the Lions closer to being in number 1 seed contention with an Eagles loss. I think with the way that it lines up, it's very, very possible. You know what? I'm just going to put my nuts on the table in this one. The Detroit Lions are going 14-3, and there's nothing the rest of the league can do about it.
Say it, Flannel!
They are 100%,
Say it, Flannel!
They're 100% going 14-3. And at this point, you have to just hope for a couple of Philadelphia Eagles losses, which is very, very possible, and maybe hope for one 49ers loss, because the 49ers, as I've said before, they fucked around too much. Mm-hmm. They started 5-0, and they went on a 3-game losing streak. And in this NFC, in which there are 3 very, very good teams, the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Lions, 3 losses, a 3-game losing streak might end you. That might put you in the 3 seed, or maybe even, well, no, not at the 4 seed. The NFC South is absolutely terrible, but the 3 seed. So the Lions, it's as open. It's very, very wide open, and it was made more open with that big win at the Chargers. And that's why
say it with your chest.
Absolutely. A very smart man once said that. And that's why, even though there was the win against the Chargers wasn't perfect, it's a win that could propel the Lions to the number 1 seed, so that they may never have to go on the road in the playoffs once. How great would that be? All those teams having to go to Ford Field.
It changes things.
It changes everything.
And guys, I said it and I believe it, and I'll say it again. I think Ford Field in that type of environment is the best, and you could argue historic, okay, fine. You could give the Chiefs Arrowhead the edge. I think in terms of one of the toughest places to play is Ford Field in the postseason. I think these fans are going to make it tough. I mean, you got a little glimpse of it Monday night against the Raiders. Times that by 20. That's what it's going to be like in that type of environment in the postseason. So teams do not want to come to Ford Field. I know that. Now Lions got to play well, but that environment is going to be epic. And Lucas, it kind of does put, even let's just say Philadelphia goes 3-2 over the next 5. Okay, yep. If they're 3-2, that puts them at 11-3. Which the Lions, and that kind of makes these next, the rest of the season for the Lions, although it's favorable, and you can tell Dallas, we think they'll beat Dallas, but Dallas isn't no slouch. Every game is getting to a point where it's a must. You got to win these games. You can't drop a game, especially because after Philly's next 5, they got New York twice and Arizona. Which Arizona with Kyler might be decent, but I think those games they're going to win all 3 of those games. It changes things for the Lions. You got to win out. You essentially do.
Yeah, this conference is about as wide open as a Kardashian after they meet a professional athlete. I think any team can win this division right now. So it goes down to strength of schedule. Lions have the best, and back to what I was saying earlier, the Lions have an offensive line where even against Dallas, where Dallas in that pass rush that concerns you. But when you have an offensive line who can stop that and neutralize it, maybe even just limit it, this offense can go up with anybody. I think the Lions, they only lose one more game this year. I could see either Dallas or New Orleans. I know Josh Dobbs in Minnesota is a good story right now, guys. I really do. But eventually they're going to get exposed, and you're going to see, okay, again, if Minnesota was a fraud with Kirk Cousins, why are we acting like they're now legit with Josh Dobbs? I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. This Minnesota Vikings team's on a roll. It's going to come to a standstill. I think the Lions are going to sweep through the NFC North, and they'll drop one more on the road. But besides that, I'm with Flannel. This is a 14-3 team, in my opinion.
Well, you have to think, Lucas. I mean, you have Chicago, Green Bay, New Orleans, Chicago, Denver, then Minnesota. You got a handful of games with more tape on Dobbs. Like, you're going to have more tape on him.
Yeah, and it's just with
the Vikings. I know he joined there and he kind of shocked everybody. And I think Dobbs he's actually impressed me. But I'm not going to,
To put together a run like that, you need so much depth on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and they have neither of that. They have a young coach in Kevin O'Connell who can maybe do something as he keeps going along, but right now he hasn't really proven anything. So he's led a 13-4 fraud season, and now he's about to lead like a 9-8, 10-6 fraud season. Everybody's like, oh, I think Josh Dobbs can give us problems because he's a mobile quarterback. But as far as winning the game, give me the path for Minnesota. I'm not saying you're going to, but what is the path for Minnesota to beat the Lions? The Lions have better receivers, especially Justin Jefferson.
They're not going to run the ball on them. They're not going to run the ball on them.
They don't have a chance. The whole reason the Vikings are in games is because their defense is able to apply pressure to the quarterback, and that's where the defensive coordinator is able to capitalize on it and gives Josh Dobbs a short field and keeps him in close games. The Vikings are not going to be able to put pressure on Jared Goff.
I think if the Lions, and to talk about that Cowboys game, if they beat the Cowboys, the NFC's theirs. They're going to, because I think they could win out in the Cowboys game on the road. You're sitting there going, man, that is a tough game. But if they beat the Cowboys, Sam, the NFC's theirs.
Are you saying that 14-3 might be selling them short? That maybe we should be all in on 15-2?
I'm saying there's potential. No, well, if we're talking the only loss moving forward, if you on paper, of course, it's the NFL. Not everything's on paper, but if you just want to go on paper, they're not losing. Even the Saints. And you know me, listen, and I've given the Saints respect. I picked them yesterday against the Vikings. The Saints ain't that.
They have no chemistry. At this point, if you don't know who you are as a team, there's just really no hope for you as far as like long-term success in the season. The Saints, from week to week, they look like a completely different team. And even if the Lions, they have a good week against the Lions, like when you do that, you struggle to find out a consistent way to win. And the Lions are just consistently playing their brand of football. And the Saints, you could even argue the Cowboys at the beginning of the season didn't know. They're rolling right now, but they really haven't played anybody legitimate in about a month or so. So Cowboys are getting a little overrated as well. This is what the Cowboys do. They play a good team, they get smacked, they beat up on 3 or 4 mad teams, and everybody's all right, the Cowboys are legit, they get tested again on prime time, and then they fall apart. So I know the Cowboys look good right now, but we need a little bit for them as well. I still think if the Lions are going to lose another game, it's definitely on the road to the Cowboys.
That's the only game I think that causes we can have a debate about, but every other game they should win.
Well, and that's the thing about the Cowboys is I don't want to stoke fear about the Cowboys, but to be fair, they did go to Philadelphia and only lose by 5. I'm not saying that you get moral victories in the NFL, right, but that was Dak Prescott, quiet as kept, is playing some really good football right now. I'm not saying that the Lions should fear the Cowboys in terms of the NFC because they're going to get the wild card. If the Cowboys ever have to play the Lions in the playoffs, it's going to be at Ford Field, and I'd have the utmost confidence in the Lions beating them. But
Rain Dakota on the road.
But the thing is, going into Dallas, I could see the Lions being underdogs in that game. They could be underdogs
in the regular season?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just because it's in Dallas. Like, you could bring up... Because this is weird about the NFL, because you bring up Dallas... Yeah, they went toe-to-toe with the Eagles, but they also lost to the Cardinals.
That's
true.
And
then you bring up the Eagles, they beat the Cowboys, but they lost to the Jets.
NFL's a funny...
It's a parity league.
It's a parity league. And that's why I don't think, the Lions, as much as we'd hope they go 15-2, like, there's going to be a stinker here or there, but the Lions are good enough, I think, to overcome that, even if they do have a stinker. Like, the only way I see them losing to Minnesota, like, and I can't see it, would be like a complete meltdown on both sides of the ball. Like Daniil Hunter just wrecks the game, and
I mean,
I can't even I'm trying to think of it. I don't think there's a pathway.
Look how
there.
good they played yesterday when T.J. Hockenson had 10 receptions, 100 plus yards, and a touchdown going into halftime. Josh Dobbs was playing that way, and they still almost lost to the Saints at home.
They almost blew that game.
Derek Carr left the game. Jameis Winston was throwing the ball everywhere. I don't think I saw a catchable ball past 40 yards down the field. He was just nuking that bitch every time. This Viking teams look good right now, guys, but I understand they're 6-4. They're going to hit a wall and they're going to regress back to earth. It's just a matter of time.
And that's
it'll find its level.
That doesn't mean that Josh Dobbs sucks. That doesn't mean that Josh Dobbs is, I think, a good quarterback. I think he's going to be one of those guys that's able to kind of be like a journeyman. I think he's at least built that up for himself. But he's not a franchise quarterback, guys. No. This is not a quarterback that's going to be able to compete with the Lions to win the North.
No, and I don't think it's so much about fearing Josh Dobbs. It's
we've been through this
right,
already.
The astronaut.
It's the fact that the Vikings have had, and as much as we don't want to admit this, they've had a remarkable season turnaround. They've won 5 in a row after looking like they were buried and dead. They were 1-4, and Justin Jefferson had a long-term injury, and Kirk Cousins after 2 games went out with an Achilles injury. You thought this team is dead and buried, and I thought they were dead and buried before the season. But I think you could make an argument, and this is going to sound crazy, and I know this isn't Vikings radio, that this team might actually be less fraudulent than last year because of their defense. Their defense is actually pretty damn good.
And we'll see if Justin Jefferson returns, because it seems like he's like, I'm good. I'd rather wait. Which, it is what it is. People chiming in. I want to read some of this. Jake says, transitive evaluation rarely works like in any sport. And by the way, he is correct there. Honolulu Blue Collar, this offense can't be stopped. See Brock effing Wright, RB duo, Goff dreamed of. Ryan says, yep, parity. That's why I think we lose 1 to Chicago and maybe Minnesota. RP says this year's team over last year's team. The Hat and Beard Show, Goff had that I banged McVay's wife earlier Riz all day. Yeah. Hey, is that child McVay's, by the way? Or is that?
Could you imagine? that was Jared's parting gift from LA.
Yeah,
he's like, all right, I'll catch you in 9 months.
He's like, babe, it kind of looks like Ryan Gosling,
bro. But then
it's like mini Jared.
Put him on Maury.
But then you would have cheated on Kristen Harper, which is pretty dumb.
That's facts too.
That's actually.
Never, I'm gonna hold my.
Harold Williams says we ain't losing to no Bears. RP says we should beat the Bears by 2 TDs.
Especially Tyson Bagent's the starter. I'll lose my mind if that's a game that the Lions drop.
Let's see here, and I want to make sure I get to this one. Samuel Lang, good morning, Woodward fam. Good morning, Samuel. Appreciate you for joining the show. Real Quick Weed says I have a wife. Just like. That's funny. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a name. Holy hell. Dobbs is dead last in the league with passes over 15 yards. They'll come back down to earth soon. Did you see TJ, dude? Like TJ,
he was getting the shit kicked out of him too.
I know, dude.
There was multiple times where I thought his season was over during that game.
Yeah, no doubt. Dom says, Jeff, remember when Sam was talking shit about Rodrigo not having tackles? He's been in there on offense now. He's using him at fullback. Rodrigo.
He might be on Matt Broder's top 10 fullback list.
Yeah. Did he make the cut? Tune in. WoodwardSports.com. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then we'll get to the running back duo the Detroit Lions have and what we think of them moving forward. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy because, guys, wintertime in Detroit is always better when you got comfort foods from Big Boy. If you want breakfast, they got that. The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The classic lumberjack Santa Fe Garden. Also, the new apple pie hotcakes that are also too good to miss. Top it all off with a new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like a landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Let me tell you about our friends over at the Hamlin Pub, because, guys, this is the place you need to watch games at. Whether you're a regular or you're new to the spot, they have just the place for you. Head to one of their 7 locations and experience where everyone is a regular. And, of course, look forward in the future. Maybe we'll have some more post-game shows down there at Hamlin Pub in Rochester. But, again, starting at $8, game day specials, every NFL game and Michigan sports, www.hamlinpubs.com. Find a location nearest to you. We're back. Welcome, everybody. Talking Detroit Lions. It's Victory Monday. A lot of Lions talk today. We'll save the Michigan stuff. We'll save all the other stuff. We'll go around the NFL because, I did pick a certain upset yesterday, and it ended up if you tuned in the pregame show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Freddie fell 3-1-3. Jeff Ford Field was electric last night for the Lions win, and Metallica, 2 more sleepy hours of driving. Great show today, fellas. Appreciate you, Freddie. Barely awake tuning into the boys. And I hope you had fun at the Metallica concert. I know you were talking about that on Woodward Nights as well. That was a lot of fun. But Ford Field must have been rocking. But guys, and I want to bring up Amon-Ra St. Brown because of course, there's some interesting stats, and Detroit Lions PR just does not miss, and they continue to put out things. The NFL also tweeted out, Amon-Ra St. Brown's last 7 games, he's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. Look at this graphic. 6 catches, 102 yards. 9 catches, 102 yards. 5 catches, 56 yards, in a TD. 12 catches, 124. What the hell is this guy on right now? This is a 4th-round pick, the man that everybody passed on. And yes, you could bring up he knows every one of those receivers, and it's funny, it is, but it shows you the kind of mentality he approaches the game with, his work ethic. He drinks spit when he's thirsty.
That's right.
He does not use water, only spit. He's built different. And this is a guy what is it? Am I lying? His dad says if you're thirsty, you got spit.
Just keep going.
You just got to make it weird. You know what I mean? You just got to make it
nasty.
Thank you, Cleveland. That's nasty. You just got to make it weird. But it's true. He is a dog, and he's your wide receiver 1. He's a guy that you should give a contract to at this very moment. Do not wait. Detroit Lions PR also tweeted out, Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown set a career high with 144 receiving yards so far today. By the way, that was today. That was before he even topped that later in the game. But with that stat, at the time they tweeted it out, he now has 6 100-yard receiving games in a 7-game span. The first Lion to do so since my favorite player of all time, Calvin Johnson, Megatron. That's quite the camp. It's quite the sphere to be in. That's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Some would argue a top 2 wide receiver in the National Football League of all time. And you look at this other stat they tweeted out, Lions PR. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown joins Calvin Johnson and Herman Moore as the only 3 players in franchise history to record 4 straight games with over 100 yards receiving. And he's doing so this year. Guys, I said it before the season, and even I was a little nervous when I first said it. And we had the discussion, what can Amon-Ra St. Brown do? I said 1,400 yards in an All-Pro. He's on track for well over 1,400 yards in an All-Pro.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm glad he finally is going to get the recognition. I think nationally, locally, we know who he is, but he is in that tier. We talk about the best receivers in the NFL. He's top 10, and he ain't 10. He's more like top 6, top 7. He's in that discussion. He's a dog.
Yeah, I'm almost ready at this point to say that second-team All-Pro is almost on lock at this point because I believe 6 wide receivers make All-Pro teams, and certainly in terms of statistical output, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been a top 6 wide receiver this season. Amon-Ra St. Brown, in 8 games, 821 yards. That's over 100 per game. I believe that there's a very, very good chance that if Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't miss that Panthers game, he's fighting for first-team All-Pro. That is how good that he has been. At this point, guys, I know this is very, very premature. Is it too early to call Amon-Ra St. Brown maybe the greatest draft pick in Detroit Lions history? I know we don't have the entire draft history in front of us, but a 4th rounder coming in year 3 being a top I would say 7 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable.
And there's an argument, Sam, because even the 2 receivers he's in the conversation with in Lions history, Herman and Kelvin, were both top 10 picks.
Yeah.
So to your point, he's in that atmosphere, and he's a 4th rounder.
Sure, and he has
Brad Holmes.
Yeah, and of course he has to keep doing it for a couple more years in order to achieve that. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, I hate to use the cliche that we always do, but he's the type of guy with that type of work ethic that you expect to keep even getting better. I don't even know how that's possible at this point, but Amon-Ra St. Brown will most certainly find a way. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you said, in this season, 6 100-yard games out of the 8 that he has played. That's absolutely unbelievable. And we all can acknowledge that Amon-Ra St. Brown was very, very good. I would say even great last year. With all that he did his first couple of seasons, coming into this year, he had 6 100-yard games combined. He's already equaled that in this one season, which just shows the type of leap that he has made. And that's why he is going to be second-team All-Pro. And yesterday, which is something that I kind of foresaw happening. I'm not trying to take any victory lap or something like that, but I might have mentioned that on one of the shows last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown set his career high in receiving yards because, and this is going to sound a little snarky and funny, but just bear with me. Nobody knew how to achieve games where he had between 102 and 120 receiving yards, quite like Amon-Ra St. Brown. But this is the one in which he really, truly had that big, huge, eye-popping game in terms of stats. He had 156, and you know what? The Lions needed every single one of those 156 because he was one of the stars on offense, and they scored 41 while the Chargers scored 38. So yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown will certainly, if he keeps this up, get 1,400, hell, maybe even 1,500, maybe even 1,600, and get second-team All-Pro. I think that one game he missed is going to prevent him from getting first-team All-Pro, but in terms of yards per game, he's 5th right now, and one of those above him is Justin Jefferson, and I don't really count him because he's only played 5 games.
Yes.
The dude's elite.
And by the way, to your point earlier about him being one of the most valuable draft pick in Lions history, I get what you're saying because people would be quick to say Barry or Billy Sims, and I'll explain why I agree with you. Calvin, right? Herman Moore. And guys, this is why it's significant with Amon-Ra, not just Amon-Ra, but Brad Holmes, is the Lions, at least in my lifetime, and I know some of the people watching can speak to in their lifetime as well, this does not happen. You don't draft guys, or no one's drafted guys like this. A 4th rounder in Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's the point. Like Billy Sims, Barry, Calvin, Herman, hell, Lomas, they're all top 10 picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a 4th round pick. And he's on pace to be in that conversation with Herman, Kelvin, the greatest receivers in Lions history. That's the point you're making.
Yes, that's exactly the point.
It's not like he's better than Barry. We're not making that point. But I agree, as a 4th rounder, this is why it's different. You're getting evidence every single year, every single week on why this franchise is different, led by Sheila Ford-Ham. So that's what's significant about this conversation. It is crazy. A 4th rounder, which, by the way, he's getting paid, and this is the craziest part about this whole thing. When he first joined the Lions, when he was drafted, he signed a 4-year, $4.26 million contract.
Ooh, boy.
That is crazy, Lucas.
Boggin.
And he's like, receivers and what they're getting paid now, ridiculous.
Then he's just going to be one of those guys that just... And the thing is, it's almost not every time, but when he makes chunk plays, like he's always wide open. He knows how to manipulate space more than anybody. His concentration on the ball is top in the league. Just that one... It was a great throw by Goff, too, where it was like right in between the linebacker and the safety, and it was on a 3rd down, I believe. It's just like an 8-yard hitch route in the middle of the field when Amon-Ra was in the slot. His concentration on the ball is top tier. His hands are top tier. He's an elite wide receiver in this league. He doesn't have that upper end talent like the Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, those kind of guys, but his production puts him in the same tier, maybe just right under as of right now, if you don't want to give it to him yet, of those premier guys in the NFL. He's never going to get the respect that he deserves, but this man is an elite wide receiver, and he's going to continue to get better just because that's all he wants to do. You can tell that man just lives and breathes football and playing the wide receiver position. There's a lot of receivers that you can't say are like that, and that's not really a knock, but that's just Amon-Ra St. Brown's approach to the game. His approach to the game reminds me a lot of Steve Smith's senior, and when you have that type of receiver that was that size as well, I think it's going to pay off long term for the Lions, and he's going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is doing all of that, and I agree with you. And the numbers that he's going to put up this year are going to be one of the greatest seasons any Lions receiver has ever had, barring injury, of course.
Yep.
And Kelvin's damn near, he did have 2,000 yards, I'm pretty sure. Damn near close to it.
I said
one
one
of. You said the best.
No,
I heard someone say that the other day, and I think it was Neil, and I was like, Neil, not there yet. Yeah.
But let me just say this though. When it comes to draft position, nobody thought that Amon-Ra St. Brown as a 4th round pick was going to be this good. I mean, nobody did. I don't even know if Brad Holmes did. And when you think about some of the other best players in Lions history, you talk about Calvin Johnson, universally regarded as maybe the greatest wide receiver prospect ever. Barry Sanders coming off a Heisman Trophy, maybe the greatest single season any college player has ever had. Billy Sims coming off of a Heisman Trophy.
Billy Sims, man.
Yes, and then Herman Moore was a top 10 pick. And I'll tell you what, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be better than Herman Moore, because Herman Moore, quiet as kept, was Hall of very, very good, but he wasn't Hall of Fame, and he was great for about a 4-season stretch. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he is going to usurp all of Herman Moore's numbers. 100%.
He's on pace.
Yeah.
And that's the takeaway is with Brad, why it's so significant, man, the guys he's finding later in the draft, later in the later rounds of the draft. And a lot of teams do this. Lions have not done this. This is new.
Yeah.
We talk about if typically your top players come within, a top 10 pick, or sometimes even botch on those picks, but it's different with Brad Holmes. He's doing an excellent job. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this backfield because, man, where they rank in the NFL, we'll have that discussion and much more. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Of course. Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year, particularly this past weekend, has been pretty damn awesome, especially for this guy. More on that tomorrow. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Market Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177. Swiss Insurance.
Again.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Yes, just in time for football season, Glorious Cannabis is dropping a ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good, it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain.
Gassy, aggressive?
Yes, gassy and aggressive. Name in honor of our Detroit football team, and yes, they did prove that on Sunday. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you are definitely missing out. It is so smooth. Find them at a Dispo dispensary near you or check them out online today at gloriouscana.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you guys for tuning in, man, on a Victory Monday. We appreciate you guys' presence because you could be anywhere from 8 to 10 a.m., but you're here with the Morning Woodward Show crew, so thank you for that. You guys cleared the 200 like goal, and now you're almost at 300, so thank you for that. If we can get to 300, I want to set a record today. I want the most likes out of all the shows because we have the best audience. Thank you guys for that. Let's get into this running back duo, guys, because it is absolutely incredible. Elite. And by the way, we talked, that offensive line has a lot to do with it, so I don't want to discount that, but still, those two guys, that two-headed monster. Guys, it's very clear. The comparison was made, and this is the vision I had. Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara.
I think it's better.
Well, and even how but their style in which they play, it's very similar.
I think it will.
Come on.
Flannel. Is Jahmyr Gibbs just as talented as Alvin Kamara? Would you say that?
Yeah, but Alvin Kamara had a historic rookie season.
But we're saying just like, well, I'm not saying that. We're saying going forward. Like, that's what I'm saying at least. Going forward, I think David Montgomery Mark Ingram running a 72-yard touchdown did not happen. No. Mark Ingram was a great back, but he was just strictly a chain mover that could pop a 20, 30-yard run every now and then. David Montgomery, in my opinion, right now is better than Mark Ingram was, and I think you give Jahmyr Gibbs a full season, he's on that same tier of Alvin Kamara, and he's behind a better offensive line, and they have better weapons on the outside too. I know they had Michael Thomas for a second there, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is better than Michael Thomas, and they're going to keep getting better, especially with Sam Laporta there too to help him out in the run game.
Man, Colin, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It sounds kind of like
Michael Thomas had one of the greatest starts to a career any wide receiver ever had.
So is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's fair.
But
Amon-Ra St. Brown was literally in that conversation with Justin Jefferson and Michael Thomas with the most catches through 2 seasons of their career.
That's yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Michael Thomas both at 196.
Okay, and to your you went there. I didn't go there yet, but. Okay, I don't hate it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you why they won't be better. They certainly could be, but we know how that backfield the Saints had. I mean, over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Like,
Mark Kamara could get that by himself. He almost did as a rookie,
but in the year Mark Ingram had one of his best years, he had like 1,200 yards. And then that was Kamara's rookie year. And David, to Lucas's point, could be a guy that gets 1,100, 1,200. Jahmyr could sprinkle in his. I know he missed games, but I'm talking next years in the future.
Yeah.
Like, they could both be guys that could account together for 2,000 yards from scrimmage. And you talk about this offensive line, which, that helps. It does, certainly. But this backfield, dude, if you talk about duos, not singling anybody out, but duos, I mean, the big one was Breece Hall and Delvin. Delvin he's got a lot of inactives.
Done nothing.
Is this the best backfield in the league?
Yes, it is.
I think it is.
It 100% is.
If you want to put the offensive line in that equation with who they're running behind and who's the play caller.
Big cock Brock, too.
Dude, You would be the guy.
That was a Spenny call.
Yeah.
Right after Brock Wright touchdown, Spenny goes, big cock Brock. Shout out, though. That was a huge touchdown.
And even Lions fans who just witnessed Jamal Williams play really well behind this offensive line, like David, and we agree he's better. I know we had that debate how much better. I think he is better, but Jahmyr certainly with DeAndre's tenure here, he's better. Now DeAndre with Philly, he's been really good, but with his tenure in Detroit, Jahmyr so far, man, is making plays. And Juve Hearted, he says Gibbs is averaging 5.3 yards per carry and is almost halfway to 1,000. And that's just incredible. This backfield, now you're starting to see the vision, at least Brad's vision, when he took Jahmyr at 12. And, although personally I'm a little different with drafting running backs high, there has to be a guy that's worth it. And Jahmyr it could be very well worth it with how he's playing in the passing game. But you see the vision. Like, this is what Brad envisioned, and it's coming to life, Sam Flannel, with these two guys. Well, it's incredible.
And the best part is when it comes to them having the best running back duo in the NFL, I'm not even saying it. It's more the numbers that are saying it. I know this is kind of a funky stat, but bear with me. They are the only running back duo in which both members are in the top 22 of rushing yards on this season. I know it's kind of a funky stat, but still. And they both missed multiple games. David Montgomery's missed 3 and Jahmyr Gibbs has missed 2. If there's one, I would say, competitor to them right now, it would have to be Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. But Devon Achane has missed the majority of the season at this point. And, of course, in the case of this one, I'm just going to go with my Lions bias. this and just say that they are better right now, because as of right now, they both are. I mean, David Montgomery, I mean, you look at just what they did yesterday when they were both fully ingratiated in the offense and healthy, because when David Montgomery was playing well early on, Jahmyr Gibbs was kind of relegated to the backup, and then he got the usage against the Raiders. So now they're both kind of 1 and 1A. 26 carries for 193 yards and 3 touchdowns, including David Montgomery with the 70-plus yard touchdown run. I mean, this was something.
I know exactly.
And I was somebody who was kind of a David Montgomery skeptic, and I got a lot of egg on my face right now, and I will admit that. One of the things with David Montgomery coming into the year is he does not break long runs. That was never really part of his game, and this year he's got 2 of them, and that's why this season his yards per carry is at 4.7, and Jahmyr Gibbs, not to be outdone, has got 476 on 5.3 yards per carry. At this point, it's a long shot. They can't both get 1,000, can they?
Well, and that's
look at that damn schedule.
Yeah, they could run all
what
over.
What if they do?
It's incredible. And to your point, Sam, about just the difference in running backs you have, like with David compared to Jahmyr. Jahmyr, it's like the thunder and lightning thing, and you could bring it up. And I know my vision, and you guys would agree, is Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. But that's why they're great at different things. And now that Jahmyr's getting more involved in the passing game, He's the weapon that we envisioned. Like at first, he took a little bit to come along, but now that he's arrived. And I think for the rest of the season, this running back duo is going to put fear in defenses, and especially Brian Flores, man, over in Minnesota. He's probably sitting there. And same with Matt Eberflus in Chicago. Like, this is a running back duo that nobody wants smoke with. Running behind that offensive line, that's incredible. JB, what do you think about this running back duo? Your thoughts on it, Jahmyr and David Montgomery?
Oh, I mean, I love the combination. As you said, it's a perfect fit. Thunder and lightning, where one comes in, mostly Monty. He sits here and takes the blunt of all these runs that they have out here. And Jahmyr Gibbs, he's that sprinkle on top. He's that sprinkle on top that can just get out there in the passing game and help out as much as he can. And it showed on Sunday as well, too, with those 2 touchdowns. This is a nice combination duo together, even though Sam doesn't see it as Alvin Kamara and the Saints. But what about another Saints duo of Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush?
Ooh, no, but Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be far better as a running back than Reggie Bush was as a Saint.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Deuce.
Maybe LT and Darren Sproles action?
Yeah, that.
But Jahmyr Gibbs, guys, actually, the more you guys talk about it, and I didn't mean to cut you off, JB, maybe the Kamara and Ingram thing is closer than we even thought, because, I get where you're going, JB, with Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush, but I don't think Reggie Bush, if I remember correctly, did he even have a 600-yard rushing season in his time with the Saints?
He was more of just like he's not like a gimmick. If Reggie Bush was in today's NFL, he'd be way more impactful. He's kind of a gadget player, though. A great one, but it's not like you could run him between the tackles every play.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. More of a gadget running back.
Eric Allen says, honestly, I'd rather have LT and Sproles. But I think the Kamara and Mark Ingram.
Yeah, that's the closest. You can't compare anybody on this roster to LaDainian Tomlinson, I don't think.
LT he's different. But these cats are different, too. If you compare them to Elvin and Mark Ingram, that's a hell of a backfield.
Yeah.
Like, hell of a backfield. And now you got Gibbs. At first it was, in the red zone, you go to Monty. Now you pick your poison. I mean, it depends how you want it. You want David Montgomery, the bruiser, or you want a guy, the quick guy who can make you miss in Jahmyr Gibbs, who also can catch a touchdown pass as well. It's incredible. All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Lions here. Maybe we'll preview a little of what's going on tonight, Monday Night Football. We'll just have a conversation. Feel free to chime in, any questions, any discussions you guys want to have. The show's about you guys. It's about Lions fans, and it's about Lions Victory Monday. This is what it's all about. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone, where anybody, and I mean anybody, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by in more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show.
Let's go!
Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Let me tell you about them, Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. They got 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest to you. Catch Woodward Sports Live from Feldman Chevrolet every other Monday in Novi. We're back. Man, Victory Monday. And a couple interesting points I want to add, too, for Jahmyr Gibbs. And the Lions PR tweeted this out. I didn't really get to say it last segment, but it kind of does speak to how significant and how well they've been playing. Detroit Lions PR tweeted out, Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs is the first Lions rookie to rush for a TD in 3 straight games since Kevin Smith in 2008. He is
Shout out Kevin Smith.
Yeah, for real. He also joins James Jones as the only Lions to produce 50-plus scrimmage yards in each of their first 7 career NFL games. And they also tweeted this out for David Montgomery. In his 6th game for the Lions, running back David Montgomery rushed for his 7th TD of the season. His 7 rushing TDs ties Billy Sims for the most a Lions player has had through the first 6 games with the team. So we're talking about 2 guys that are doing historic things in franchise history. Are they the best running back duo in the league? I would say so, but more than that, this is quite the run game that we've seen. In our lifetime, at least from a duo standpoint. It's incredible. I wish I would have had the opportunity to watch Barry Sanders. I got to watch Kelvin. I got to watch, some great players, but
to watch Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith was low-key a dog.
He was. He was.
Just small and he didn't have good health.
I miss James Jones. I miss Billy Sims.
Wasn't James Jones in the Elway Marino draft? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, that was early 1980s there. But regardless, man, Real Creeble says K. Smith was awesome. Real Creeble says Kevin Smith, ironically, was a 3rd-round pick for the Lions. Yeah, there you go. So like I said before, it's been a while. It's been a while since you've seen consistent hits late in the draft. Let's see. Lone Star Line. Can we talk more about the Goff to JMO connection? If they run that crossing route to JMO instead of Khalif, it's a TD.
Well, they also were. I have a picture of it too. I'll get it uploaded. I'll put it up around 9:40. They use JMO in the slot on a crosser route to clear off that whole defense. That was a perfect play call. Remember, like Brock riding into New York last year is pretty much the same exact design. You're getting the whole defense to go one way so you can run a speedster under. So that's one of those plays where we talk about Jamison Williams not making an imprint on the stat sheet. That's a perfect one because you have Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. Everybody's going to be paying their eyes attention to that. And then you have the other corner on JMO, and he's going to be 8-9 yards off. They're running JMO deep, so the corner's going to clear out. That gives Khalif Raymond about 15-20 yards to work with, and he got 30-40 yards on that play. So JMO, as much as it would have been nice to see him catch a ball there, he still caught all of his targets just yesterday. He was great in the running game, and he did his job there. That opened up a huge play for Khalif.
Well, and I'm not...
I didn't even think about that. It is kind of similar to the Brock Wright scheme.
It was very similar. It's just it obviously wasn't the same, but it was very similar concept.
Yeah.
Are we for two things about that? Are we sure that Jamison Williams would have taken it to the house? 1, and 2, was it better that it wasn't taken to the house? I mean, honestly, that's the thing. That's a little nitpicky at this point because if that's a long touchdown, yeah, it would have been amazing. It would have got us all out of our seats and everything, but. Don't you think the Chargers would have been able to just go right down the field and tie the game, and then it goes to overtime and anything could happen? The fact that it got them into field goal range and the Lions were then able to manipulate the clock with the help of a big 4th down conversion and kick pretty much a very makeable field goal with no time left. I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
I'm with you there, Sam. I'm not going to – but again, J-Mo's impact on that play. And then, by the way, the TD that got called back because of Taylor Decker. Because I had my guarantee – I don't know if I'd go as far as guarantee, but I was like J-Mo scoring. I could feel it. I knew he'd score. Technically, he did.
Come on,
it just got called back.
Don't do it.
So my apologies. I didn't know Taylor Decker.
You're going to hear about it from Neil Rule.
But so again, what was it? 7 catches, 2 TDs. Almost was what? 8, 9 catches, 3 TDs. But regardless, it was called back. But it was nice, and it wasn't it was nice because it wasn't like a bomb. It was it was a simple concept. Get J-Mo the ball, he's in the end zone.
And even the routes that he was running when he didn't get the ball, he was running a lot more intermediate routes. Like I'm sure he did. I just can't recall seeing J-Mo run it like flat out, just like a fly route. Like I'm sure he did at some point, maybe to run off a DB or something like that. But they were using him as in the screen game, on the short checkdowns, and through the cross. He ran multiple crossing routes. So I'm very happy. Even though J-Mo didn't get the production we want to see, they're using him in a different way than what they have been. He's been on the field more, especially with the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade coming. People worried about J-Mo, and we're almost like, I saw J-Mo on the field, I think, more than I did Josh Reynolds this week. And even Antoine Green was on there. So this could be one of those things where it's like, maybe they just are taking their time with J-Mo and just seeing what they got. Because to Flannel's point, and we were talking about earlier, they don't need Jamison Williams right now to be going off. So if they can just slowly get him incorporated during the season, and then as the season goes on, especially closer to the playoffs, you can now spring open J-Mo during the playoffs. I think that's something that the Lions could be doing for sure.
I didn't even think about this, Sam. Hoof-hearted. By the way, great point. J-Mo gets so many TDs called back. I forgot last year they got a TD called back against the Packers.
Yeah.
So two more I know what you're about to. You're about to spew hate, but 2 more TDs that man could have had. But double-digit catches and like 4 TDs, like that. 10 catches for like multiple TDs.
Guys,
Come on,
I'm not spewing hate. I'm not spewing hate. But it shows how little receiving production he's had in his career, and this is not hate. These are just numbers. That he gets credit for touchdowns called back. You know who? Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, come on!
You know what he gets credits for? Touchdowns he actually scored.
And we're giving Amon-Ra St. Brown credit for those touchdowns. We're just saying, from the eye test, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, just like that block didn't. But J-Mo showed you. Everybody's like, he can't even catch a screen. He caught a screen and he took it to the house.
Yeah, but
got called back. But the fact that he showed you that he can do that, when everybody has been saying weeks on end he can't do that, he is showing you, whether there's a flag or not, he can do things that people say he's not capable of. The eye test is there.
To this day. And you got to be Sam. You got to be consistent, because if Amon-Ra scored a TD that got called back, I'd still say the man scored a TD.
No,
just
you
was called
wouldn't,
back.
because he scores so many already.
Okay,
he
but it
makes
doesn't
so many
matter who it
plays
is.
already.
If Donovan Peoples-Jones played and scored a TD and it was called back, I'd say, man, he did score a TD. It was just called back. How is it J-Mo, do a better job of motivating Taylor Decker to not get the penalty?
I'm not going to say.
I mean, come on. I'm doing what you do.
You know what?
Come on. I'm doing what you do.
When did those words ever come out of my mouth? They didn't come out of my mouth. I'm just saying that every player who has ever played NFL football and for any amount of time has had touchdowns called back. Every skill position player. That's facts.
But we're not talking about every other. We're talking about Jamison Williams.
I know.
Why does
he get credit for a touchdown that was called back?
I'm just stating, did he score a TD that was called back, yes or no?
Yes.
There you
but
go.
it doesn't count on the stat sheet. It will count as
We're
something
not
that never
saying
happened.
it counts on the stat sheet.
Not everything has to be processed on a stat sheet. You got to watch it. You watched him score a TD, and it was called back.
Okay,
yes or
fine.
no?
Congratulations. Slow clap.
Oh, my God, dude. Come on.
I didn't want to do this.
Yeah, you did.
You did it.
You did.
All I brought up, Sam, was he scored a TD that was called back. And you're like, well, Amon-Ra scores TDs that are called back. That's not the point.
Wait, he scores touchdowns on a consistent
because
basis.
his teammates don't have penalties. No other penalties when he scored.
Who else scores
Congratulations.
touchdowns all the time? George Pickens. Chris Olave.
Not George
Garrett
Pickens. Are you
Wilson.
sure you want to use George Pickens this year?
He's had a good year. I'm just saying that, we're giving
You know what? I'm a George Pickens fan, too. Chris Olave, have you seen his hands? Chris Olave also... Hold on. If you're going to use Chris Olave, who damn near gets 10 to 14 targets every week and drops 4 of them, Chris Olave is the last example you want to go down, because he is a talented receiver, but his hands are the definition of shaky. If you put Jamison Williams and you give him 14 targets, God, I would love to see what happens.
He'd catch
on
like 7
3
of
of
them.
those.
Yeah.
He would make one of them a 50-yarder. If he got 14 targets, go look at Chris Olave's target share, how their offenses ran. That's why it makes my head want to explode. When you're just like, look at this receiver, look at this receiver. You're correct, Flannel. Statistically, you are absolutely absolutely spot on. Those receivers are in completely different situations within their play system and how their team is being ran and the winning situation that they're in. If Jameson Williams was in Chris Olave's shoes right now, you bet your ass he's getting 10 times more targets than he is right now in Detroit. It's because they're losing and they don't have a dominant running game and a wide receiver, definition of a wide receiver one on the outside of them, definition of a tight end one on the inside, and just multiple options out of the backfield that you can go to.
Well, and you know what? That's fine. I'm going to break bread with you guys for real because the Lions won the game and Jameson Williams had a first down. He had a block. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying the guy was your best. I'm not saying he's the best player on the field. All I'm stating is, Sam, he scored. Unfortunately, though, Taylor Decker got a penalty.
Right.
It would have counted. If he didn't, it is what it is. That's all I'm stating.
No, and
I'm not saying he's him. He's arrived, and I like Jameson a lot. But you took the turn.
I got a dispo now.
You took the left turn, Sam. When I was just trying to cruise down the road, you wanted to bring.
Did I though?
Yes.
I don't think I did.
Well, you do not think, but that's what it seemed like to me, and that's why me and Lucas got hot because we're like, how? It's literally not even his fault. It was just called back.
When arguing Jameson Williams' lack of targets is all of a sudden a flex. That's what drives me crazy.
It's not a flex, but it's a reality of the situation.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to like. I'm not saying that J-Mo is Chris Olave. Chris Olave has been better.
Yes.
But there's reasons behind why. And
Absolutely.
that's what all we're trying to explain, and you're acting like we're getting on our knees for the man. So no, we're just defending the case that this guy is going to get better, and if you can't see it just through the slow weeks, like even yesterday showed me a lot. The fact that Jameson Williams, despite all the noise, because there's multiple people who say the same exact thing that you do, Flannel, and he doesn't give a fuck. He's just going out there. He's blocking 60 yards down the field. He's running off his corner 40 yards down the field and blocking so Khalif Raymond can ice that game away. Jameson Williams is not making any noise from inside that locker room. He's focused and he's determined on getting better. That's why it's like, just give the man some time because he's in a position where if he's going to get better, it's going to take time. And why? Like, I just don't see what is constructive about hating on the man. I just don't see what's constructive about it. He's not Will Harris. Okay, I'm sorry. He's not been out there for 3-4 seasons and it's just constantly nothing. He's given you life from time to time. It's just a matter of now waiting for it to consistently happen, which will eventually take place.
Okay, and you know what? As I see your point, I really do. As long as the Lions win, wait a minute. As long as the Lions win, I will try to avoid the J-Mo talk. And of course, if he has a very, very productive game, I will give him credit. They won. He made it a small impact. He did.
If J-Mo goes out and drops a wide open touchdown, Flannel, I'm not going to be the guy that's like, don't slander J-Mo. Like, no, that's a bad fucking drop. But I think all of this is part of the growing and learning process, which Jameson Williams obviously needs. And we wish that wasn't the case, but he's a very talented player. And if that's what it takes to reach that level and you're winning, okay, I'm fine with it.
They just got to keep winning.
And absolutely, Sam. Winning is all that matters. Although, hey, we disagree about J-Mo. We yell at each other. Winning is important. It reunites everybody. All right, we can all celebrate a victory Monday. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get to what's trending with Lucas. Curious what Lucas has for us today. Then we'll get to mailbag, of course. But first, okay, Sam, just tell us, how do you take such good care of Jake and Milo? Could you tell the people your inside information?
Oh, absolutely. I take them to Premier Pet, of course, for all of their needs, food, toys, treats, everything. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I don't settle when it comes to my golden retriever, Jake, and my orange cat, Milo. Give your pet the best like I give my pets, plural, the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
How would you like to win a $100K Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in a city that never sleeps. It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today. Enter for your chance to win. Register at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Meijer store. Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Once again, that website, drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
We're back. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on a Victory Monday. Guys, if you could do me a favor, and this isn't like I'm some cheesy YouTuber, slap the like button. But let's get to 400 likes. This is a personal and for the crew here. We want to set the record, set the tone for the network today. And let's get to all-time. Let's get to 400, 500. We have a lot of people tuning into the show, and we appreciate you if you're new to the show. But let's try and climb this thing, baby. Let's set the tone for the day.
Set the tone.
All right, Lucas, you know what time it is. What's trending with Lucas? Talk to me. What do you got for us?
Make sure you hit that like, because unlike the 11 to 1 show, we all had the Lions winning this Sunday. But
that's a shot.
Another one that people didn't know if they were going to win. The Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud. And after the game, after he went into my Joe Burrow, his field, he had another game-winning drive. Joe Burrow did his thing. He tied the game up, but it still wasn't enough. This is what C.J. Stroud had to say after the game.
For me, it's a lot of prayer, a lot of just knowing that, man, God wouldn't put anything on me that I can't handle. I don't deserve His grace and His mercy, but He still gives it to me, and I love Him for that. Because it's not about me; it's about Him and His glory. So I think that's where it comes from. I think God made me like that. I've been through a lot, not only in football, but things that made me just kind of chill during when everything's going crazy. And I thank God for putting that on me, because that's something that put that.
So C.J. Stroud, man's a class act. He's balling out on the field. I said this in our morning show group chat. This man's better than Andrew Luck. He will be better than Andrew Luck. I think he's probably, I'm trying to think, since Mahomes, I think he's been at least through a rookie so far. He's been the best quarterback prospect that we've seen in a long time. I think he's in the MVP discussion race now, and I couldn't have been more wrong about him, but I'm giving him his flowers. Is C.J. Stroud in the MVP race as of Week 10 of the NFL season?
C.J. Stroud, huh?
How about him?
Just say it. Say you were right, Jeff, about C.J. Stroud. Hey, oh my gosh! All right, what's going on? I'll give you all the props on Sam Laporta.
Yep.
Because listen, this guy, ball. But C.J. Stroud, I'm glad you've admitted multiple, for people that are tuning in for the first time. Like Lucas, you came around on C.J. At first, and you're a Ohio State fan.
Yeah.
For right now,
I'm a Ohio State supporter. I will go on the record to say this. If Ryan Day loses 3 times in a row to Michigan and they keep him, I'm not an Ohio State fan anymore. But continue.
That's fair. But C.J. Stroud, and you're onto something. It's crazy because you look at some of the best quarterbacks, and I just take Mahomes because he's the easy one. Guys, in Aaron Rodgers you can bring up too, like guys that are drafted but sit and learn the game. C.J. starts day one, and you could bring up quarterbacks typically that struggle in their first year in the league and they get better. He has 1 interception. Or I believe 2 now. Two now. He's played exceptional for a team like the Texans, who not a lot of people picked to even be above 500, and they're above 500. If they keep winning games, Lucas, hell, they win their division, which I don't know if they will, because
I think they're a little far behind, but
they're far behind. But let's just say hypothetically they come in second. It's close. He's in the MVP race. Rookie of the Year's locked up.
Yeah,
That's his. I'm not even talking that.
Yeah.
But MVP, he's in the race, and it's wide open right now. Now I don't know if I want to see the Texans win more for him to be an MVP, but he's in the race, Sam, and that's impressive for a rookie.
Oh boy,
it's crazy.
I'm about to drop a bomb. Are you guys ready for this one?
We're
talking about this division. C.J. Stroud is better than Trevor Lawrence has ever been. Now.
Oh.
Yes.
Damn.
That's me.
By the way, Trevor Lawrence is having a disappointing year for the record.
Yeah, he is.
And he had a terrible...
that's my guy.
And I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is bad. It shows how C.J. Stroud is having a historically great rookie season. C.J. Stroud, you could argue, is not just in the MVP discussion, is number one as of right now, when you really think about it. Because it is, and we all agree, a weak class for MVPs. Lamar Jackson didn't do himself any favors with that game at Cleveland. You look at Patrick Mahomes. He's not having a typical Mahomes season. You look at Josh Allen. The Bills are losing too much. You look at Joe Burrow. He threw a couple interceptions yesterday, and the Bengals are losing too much. You look at Tua Tagovailoa. Whenever they go on the road and play a good team, he never plays up to his capabilities. I mean, you could include Jared Goff even, but even against the Ravens, he didn't play super well. But he's in the race as well. To me, C.J. Stroud right now is number one, and the Texans are 5-4, and he's got like 16 TDs, 2 picks. That's
it's
unbelievable.
Crazy. That is crazy.
Yes.
And by the way, I'll be on the stand. You guys know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. He's my MVP. Things happen. He has not been great at all this season. He's put up game manager numbers. So I'll admit that too. CJ, he's been better than Trevor Lawrence. I thought Trevor would take that next step after last year. I'm not going to write off Trevor, but man, yeah, he's been stinking. The Jags, let's just say the Jags haven't been winning just because of Trevor. They've just been winning, and then they lost yesterday, of course. 49ers whooped that ass. But CJ Stroud he's that guy. He really is. That division, I mean, we talk about Trevor Lawrence in that division. C.J. Stroud now.
That's going to be a
battle for years to come. Absolutely.
But something else that's kind of been impressive, I would say, to be at the very least, those Oakland Raiders, I should say Las Vegas Raiders, they've been turning around. Anthony Pierce has been doing a great job. But Bo Jackson, he spoke to Josh Jacobs, and this is what he had to say.
So I talked to Bo Jackson this week, and he just told her, he said, man, you run a motherfucker over, you pick him up, you say, all right, I'm going to come back 40 seconds later. And I try to have that mentality today.
Josh Jacobs, I don't know if you guys watched last night. A lot of people said that they weren't going to watch, but Josh Jacobs, he looks like that running back from last year again. So what do you think about the Raiders as a whole, just with a new coaching job? And is Josh Jacobs not just a contract year running back?
And by the way, we'll see if the Raiders mess this one up again. They did this. Who was the special teams coordinator they had? Who joined the Green Bay Packers?
I wish you wouldn't have asked me that question.
Yes. Thank you. He was the interim head coach. They made the playoffs, and the players absolutely loved him. And, Mark Davis, doing what Mark Davis does, just said, you know what, we're going to get Josh McDaniels. Now, make the mistake once, shame on you, and you make it twice, well, shame on me. And if he does it again and you let Antonio Pierce walk away, I think Antonio Pierce is doing a great job. And the players, you see it, they play hard for him. They don't give up on plays. And you watched that game last night. It was gross, by the way. I tuned in the second half. It was disgusting.
Am I the only one that thought that was a good game?
Dude, I mean, but it depends what kind of football you love. Zach Wilson makes everything just worse.
That was bad.
But Aiden O'Connell, though, wasn't too bad. At least he gets Devontae the football.
Like, that Raiders team is honestly, when they're clicking, it's a fun team to watch. You have Josh Jacobs, you have Max Crosby, you have Devontae Adams. I mean, Jacoby Myers is even doing his thing this year. I thought it was a good game. Everybody was shitting on it. I understand Zach Wilson's terrible, but there's a lot of people even on the Jets who are studs. So the game wasn't that bad.
But let's see what the Raiders do. If they start winning some games here, and Antonio Pierce is the guy the players love, let's see. I want to see what Mark Davis does.
They're 5-5, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
The Chargers are 5-5.
Yes, they are.
Chargers are 4-5.
4-5.
Oh no, one game under 500.
The Texans are 5-4.
Yep.
There's a race there for that wild card spot potentially.
But I'm just saying, let's see if they make the mistake again. If they say, you know what, Antonio Pierce, thank you for rejuvenating this franchise, but see you later. And then they're going to bring in another bonehead head coach, unless he's proven. We'll see. And if they get someone proven, I'll accept it. But Antonio Pierce, to me right now, we'll see how it trends. He should keep the job. If you're talking a guy like the players, they're all on board with him. And Josh Jacobs has been amazing. So
run through motherfucker's face now.
Yeah, he ain't lying.
I mean, yeah, we'll see how it all plays out, because the Raiders, they could implode or they could keep it up, because their last couple of wins, I believe, were against the Giants and the Jets.
Yeah.
So I mean, no, and that's home wins against the Giants and the Jets. I'm not saying that it's hard to win in the NFL no matter what, but I guess as long as Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't touch foot on the field ever again for the Raiders, this could be a team that gets like 7 or 8 wins. Because Aiden O'Connell has played the best quarterback of any player on the Raiders this season.
And it's not even close.
Not even close. And Devontae Adams is still one of the best receivers. Max Crosby is having a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. Shout out that defense, by the way. They're a lot better than people thought they would be.
Aiden O'Connell, Purdue legend, torched your Wolverines. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, he actually did. Charlie Jones.
Charlie Jones
is that guy.
Charlie Jones did, though.
Did Trey Palmer yesterday, too?
Yeah.
Josh Palmer.
Trey Palmer.
Yeah, I was going to say, Trey Palmer. You've been waiting on that Trey Palmer love, huh?
Trey Palmer's a dude now.
Baker's been missing him on a couple of those, a lot of shots this year.
It's like, oh, my God. Trey Palmer's a dog.
He is.
Believe me later. Believe me later.
You're funny. All right, let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll get to some mailbag. We'll go a little over. We'll try and get some questions. So get your questions ready, guys. Thank you. We hit the like goal. We're at 421.
Goats.
I mean, guys, can we get close to 500? Well, that's the question. We'll find out. Can the people help us out? Set the tone. We'll be back. But first, we got Glorious, or are we just going right to a break?
I think we're going straight to break.
All right. We'll see you guys in a little bit. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you in a little bit.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. And join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live this Sunday for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in Shed number 5, and it is going to be a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Let's get to some mailbag. I know it's 10 o'clock, but we're going over. We're working OT for the people here. Let's get a couple questions. I know people got things to ask, and of course it is Victory Monday, so why the hell not? Let's see if we can get some of these. Jesse, mailbag, not asking this in a dickish way. Appreciate that, Jesse. Do you guys wish we made that trade for Chase Young or a defensive lineman? Could have used them yesterday. We made a pact. We wouldn't bring this up again.
We buried the hatchet.
I'll say this, Jesse. At least with Brad Holmes as what he envisions for this franchise, do they need help in the defensive line? Yes. If you asked Brad Holmes that, he would say yes. I just don't think he was willing to pay the price for those guys and pay them because, of course, if he's trading for someone, he'd probably want them to stay. So I get that. He wasn't in for a rental, and I can accept that. Now, could they have used Chase Young? Yeah, absolutely.
Every team can.
Yeah, every team can. But at least from Brad Holmes' vision, I see it. And we'll see. I have to see the draft next year because if you draft another 3-4 starters and they all turn out to be great players on rookie contracts, I got to shut up because that would be impressive too.
Yeah, both things can be true. Yes, I wish they would have gotten Chase Young. That's one. Two, I can't keep bringing this up anymore or else it's going to drive people crazy and I think it's going to create a wedge even between us and the chat. I saw that Easy, he posted something when Chase Young got that half a sack with Nick Bosa saying
really?
I was told Chase Young is mid or Chase Young sucks. But you know what? When that was going on, there was a little bit too much Chase Young slander than I was comfortable with. So I'm not mad that Easy posted that. I'm just saying that at this point, as long as they keep winning, I'm going to be cool. If they lose in the playoffs and give up 30-plus points and get no pass rush, then I might be like, we should have made a move.
And we don't know if they were in on Chase and they didn't want to go to the level the 49ers went to. So, I don't want to discredit. Brad could have easily been in that conversation. Black Mark Davis joining the show.
Hey, shout out.
Black Mark Davis, we appreciate you, brother. He says, mailbag, anyone else hoping AG gets a head coaching job so we don't have to see this defense anymore?
Ooh.
It's a little aggressive.
With the AG. Are we going to do this every...
To be fair, he had a bye week. And they still looked awful. So
I get that.
That's
but
not great.
There's also just every time this defense doesn't show up, it's fire AG. Every time this defense does their job,
they love AG.
They love AG. Keep the same energy. This is a high-powered, explosive offense that had more upper-end talent than the Lions defense does upper-end talent. These games are going to happen. The fact that they won, I understand the defense looked horrendous, but there's been multiple weeks where you go, Jesus Christ, that is an elite defense. The fact that Aaron Glenn has made you say that this many times, with now the pass rush that you realize that the Lions have, at some point, give the man some credit for the fact that this defense has consistently overproduced for what it should be. This defense, if we're talking about it, should damn near look like this every week, but it doesn't.
But is it fair to say against whom?
If you shut down really bad opponents, you're doing your job. There's going to be games,
but they're not looking to beat up on bad. You want to beat the best teams.
But you're not going to be able to shut down elite offenses when you don't have an elite pass rusher on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. You don't have a true lockdown corner. You don't have a true linebacker right now. They have a true safety. I'd say that, and Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think all those guys are true safeties. But when you're going up against elite talent, what secondary with this talent is going to stop DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba?
Okay, so
not many. What secondary is going to stop Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert when they're in a shootout?
The pass rush point, I agree with you.
Not even the Chiefs can do that. And pass rush goes directly hand in hand with the secondary.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Glenn's been doing a phenomenal job, but the people that are just fire Aaron Glenn, re-fucking-lax.
No,
take a chill pill.
It's not about firing Aaron Glenn. I don't want you, Lucas, to kind of do what Easy's often done. It's just blindly defend the Glenn no matter what. In a third of the games that the Lions defense has played this year, they've given up, I believe, at least 37 points. That's also, one of them was a pick six by Jared Goff, but still, in a third of the games, when they played Justin Herbert and the Chargers, when they played Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, when they played Geno Smith and the Seahawks, the defense did not look good.
But I would also agree with Lucas, though, hold on, against those top offenses, Lucas, they just don't have the guys. They don't. At least up front.
They're not in that stage right now. They have an offseason to go to spend even more money, trade for even more, draft even more players on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
If you're going to judge Aaron Glenn right now with this defense, it's just you're looking around the league at defenses that have Roquan Smiths, Fred Warners, just absolute all-pros on the other side of the ball, and you want that. Everybody wants that. But the Lions' elite playmaker right now on the defense side of the ball is Aiden Hutchinson, and he hasn't been able to really produce how he wanted to, so it's like, if he's not able to do that, what do you expect Aaron Glenn to do? Go out there and put on Cam Sutton's jersey and cover? No. Keenan Allen is a better wide receiver than Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs are cornerbacks. That's just how the game is at some points, and you can't just put that directly on the coordinator.
No, but their defense as a whole, at least scoring-wise, is now bottom 12.
For the most part, he makes the adjustments he needs to make to win games.
Okay.
Well, and you know what? We'll probably finish up here, mailbag. This is what you guys do, though. It's great questions because it gets us arguing. And that's what takes up some time here. But we appreciate you for joining the show again, guys, on a Victory Monday. Your support is always appreciated. We had over 450 likes. That's big time. Yeah! We set the tone for the network. Mike Bell, appreciate the OT. Jeff and the boys, appreciate you, Mike, for tuning in. Guys, sticking with us. Don't forget, rest of the week, a lot planned. We got Tuesdays with our Detroit Lions beat reporter, Matt Broder. Tomorrow, tune in. We'll have the breakdown from the man, the myth, the legend, the man from Woodward Knights with Booner as well. He'll join us tomorrow. Kool-Aid will join us to talk about the Pistons because they've lost 8 straight. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. Thursdays, John McEnroe joining the show. Give us a recap and to preview the Bears game as well. Thank you guys so much for your consistent support from everyone at the Morning Woodward Show. We love you. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. The rest of the network. Big D Energy 11 to 1. Ermanni and Edwards will Maz 2 to 4. Heavyweights 5 to 7. Yes. And then close your night off with Woodward Nights 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with the boys. All right. Take care, everybody. See ya.